Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Arvanauts. Welcome, everyone, to a Tuesday stream. It is November 24th, 2020. If you're in the U.S., happy 2 days before Thanksgiving Day, which is clearly a day. And welcome, everybody. Welcome to day 11 of Adventures in Middle-earth, Erebor Adventures, the Silver Needle. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you are all looking forward to what I expect is going to be an awesome stream today. I am very excited about it, to get back with this amazing crew and to play some more of this amazing game. And it is going to be the first of two streams today for me, but I will talk about that in just a moment. Before we get there, I do want to remind everybody about ways to support us here on the channel. If you have not done so already, please make sure to follow the channel. Please make sure to check out the YouTube, !ArvTube, which has past broadcasts of this and many other shows that we do here on the channel. !ArvCord is the Discord channel where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. If you haven't already done so, please consider as well checking out the Twitter, !ArvTweets. And to go back to that YouTube thing for a moment, I would definitely appreciate it if people would be able to maybe consider jumping over and subscribing over there. It doesn't cost you anything to do so, but if you have a YouTube account or if you have an account with Google, which most of us do at this point, and you're able to do that, it would be appreciated, because the farther up we go, I'm at about 760 right now subscribers there, and the farther we go in the direction of 1,000, the easier it would be to monetize the stream. This would be useful in the event there ever comes a time where I need to be streaming somewhere other than on Twitch. I do not anticipate that happening anytime in the near future, but given the stuff with DMCA and, you know, all this other stuff, it would be nice to cover my bases, I guess. So if you haven't already done that, please consider jumping over and doing that. Just, it would be nice for future guarding protection, I guess, for me. So anyway, any support would be appreciated there if you're able to do that. Website is arvaneleron.com. On the financial side, !Arv Shop is my merchandise area where you can get Infinity and Beyond stuff and Adventures in Middle-earth stuff and soon-to-be Esper Genesis stuff there as well. !Arv Treon is the Patreon, 22 patrons, $2.40 per month. You can see for yourself what it's at, and I get about right around $200 every month after fees and stuff like that from that, and I'm able to put that right back into the channel, including for things like supplementing the Sound Clash, the Clampdown fundraiser we had 2 days ago, and all that kind of good stuff. So any of that really helps the channel as a whole and also helps you individually. You can get inspirations to help the players. You can get copies of one of my band's albums. You can get a professional writing critique. You can get a character background. You can get an epic poem. You can get a whole lot of stuff done as well. So I am super, super excited for any support that people are able to give through the Patreon. Also excited about support that people are able to give through the sub button that is right there. That sub button will allow you to support the channel and also get those custom sub badges and emotes all across Twitch, and will allow you as well to get those inspirations to help the players also. So any of that would definitely be appreciated. And last but certainly not least, on the publishing side, Icarus for details about my Icarus graphic novel. That is super, very excited about that because that released in retail just, I guess, 14 days, 2 weeks ago. So we are, moving ahead with that. Very excited about the potential for that book and its sequels, because we do have sequels that are planned. So we've got that going on. And then Library for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, which is my 5e adventure and source book from Alligator Alley Entertainment. Super excited about that coming out in print. It's already out in digital. It's on the way. I swear it's coming. It's on the way. Pandemic. Thank you. Anyway, it's on the way. And last but certainly not least, Grayshade KS, my Grayshade Kickstarter launching in early February of 2021. Very excited about that too. And I'll be talking more about that a little bit in December, but then definitely a lot more in the new year as we enter a new year and hopefully a better one, I hope, in 2021. And then I think the last two things I need to mention are BLM, Black Lives Matter. Again, continuing to assert and affirm the significance and importance of Black lives. I was just having a discussion in the green room with Chad about another frustrating situation that kind of indicated how often that gets overlooked. But anyway, BLM continues to be hugely important, as does Help Now, which is the WHO's page on suicide prevention that actually stemmed from a discussion that we had with Terry Tunes, who you're going to be hearing from in just a little bit, about this on the same stream and on the same show a week ago. So it came from that we've been looking at as well. Thank you so much for doing that, Echo, by the way. I appreciate that very much, as always. I shall see you a little bit later on from Lurk. So that's the deal with that. Now, just a quick comment about scheduling and stuff like that. First of all, I want to give a thank you, and let me just get rid of this and get rid of this, and let me turn on that. Oh, there we go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome. Thank you all again so very much for being here, and I hope everyone is doing well. I do want to just start with a quick thank you, which is I want to thank everybody from the lovely people who were here for what was a super busy last week. We had every tabletop game that we host, either here or on GOG. We featured all of them last week, which was really cool. And I want to thank everyone who was here for that, and especially thank everyone who was here and contributed to Soundclash the Clampdown's fundraiser on Sunday. It was a big success. We made $420, and there's actually looks like there's going to be one or two more donations that will have come in after the fact. So when all said and done, we will probably have cleared somewhere around $450 during the fundraiser. That's great. That will make it possible for us to do definitely a good intro video, which will be, I think, will be worthy of the campaign that it's running with. So I'm very excited about that. Also, it got us a chance to really play some great games. I got a chance to play a little bit, which was neat. And it also gave us a chance to feature, I think, some really cool games. Nathan Blades on All Frequencies. I got some more joy from Tales from the Hexes, which continues to amaze me as a game. We got to play Carlos Hernandez and CSE Cooney's Negocios Infernales, which was really cool too. That was a lot of fun and a lot going on with that, and it was a very cool kind of like matching wits with everybody and all. It was good. So it was great to have it be a part of it, and for all of you who were there for so much of it, thank you again to the mods, to everybody. I know Triffid was there for a lot, and just thank you to everyone. Echo was there for a bunch of it, so thank you to everyone who was there for so much of it, because I am most grateful to all of you for all that. Secondly, as far as schedule is concerned, this is a much more laid-back week, which is nice. I actually think December is going to be a little more chill, although there's going to be a lot of fun things happening. Don't get me wrong. It's just it'll be a little more chill as we go along. But in particular, I want to note that this day we've got Adventures in Middle-earth, and then this evening over on GOG at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'll be over there with Pen and Pixels, and I'll be continuing my Vaporum lockdown. Next 2 weeks on Pen and Pixels are both going to be D&D days by the demands of the players, so I'm certainly going to accommodate them. That's great. But it means that Vaporum lockdown is happening today and then not for another couple of weeks afterwards. So if you want your Vaporum fix, this is the time to do it. That's going to be happening this evening. We're going to be off Wednesday, off Thursday, and then we'll be back on Friday. There is an off chance on Thursday, which is Thanksgiving in the U.S. There might be a potential bonus evening stream, but that's very up in the air. I think I can't promise that. So best guess is we'll be back here on Friday with Esper Genesis, and then Saturday, which will be the almost last day. I think the last day of I'll get back to that. So Saturday will be the Patreon Field Chat Chosen Game of the Month, which is Dragon Quest XI. And then Sunday is off, and then Monday we have Emberwind, and Emberwind I think is the 30th, so that will be wrapping up the month of November. Awesome December ahead, but it's going to be a little more chill by design. I want to be able to just be a little like after what has been a very busy last couple of weeks. But it's going to be fun still. I'm very much excited for it. So I think that's the only thing I need to mention with that, except to say that we got our awesome players ready to go. And so I'm going to bring them in by saying hello to all of them. I will apologize again for interrupting them, as I probably have done as usual. And then I'm going to unmute them, and then I'm going to move over to...
And so ultimately it comes down to that's how we kill... Oh.
Spectacular. It's good to see everyone. It is a pleasure to have the full crew back with you here in Adventures in Middle-earth Erebor, because they have a meeting with a certain troublesome halfling, not Bolo, another much worse troublesome halfling in their future. But we will...
I'm only mildly troublesome.
Yeah, only mildly. You're making the good kind of trouble, as they say.
Is it Dindy and Doty? Because I am not up for that.
I should say, like, at some point you'll just assemble a rogues gallery of the halflings you don't like, and it'll be, like, they'll be the three prominent ones. Anyway, I should take a note, like, make arrangement to group them together as a gang. No,
man, you are a hippie. What is up with that hair?
You know, yeah, I know, it's true. I've never in my life had hair that was any, like, even down, even close to my shoulders, like even vaguely. And so I haven't gotten a haircut since March. And I was like, you know what? I am going to, for the first time in my life, try having slightly longer hair. Like, if it doesn't work, then whatever. And so for most people who have had, long hair that is down to their back, I'm sure they're like, whatever, blah, 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 arf. For me, okay, it feels very weird and also kind of semi-cool that I'm trying something very different. So, yeah.
Someday you will either be walking around outside, or you will pass by a fan, a gust of wind, something. It will hit your gorgeous cascading locks just right, and you're going to be like a Wella Balsam commercial. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a limit, by the way. It doesn't go beyond, like, it stops where it is. Like, it's not it's not going further. I am
That's what
not
I
that
said
way.
too.
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Before you let yourself rat tail grow.
Yeah,
Is
see,
that
that's the
what it's
thing.
called
I don't
in
want to
English?
do the ponytail. I don't know. That
Like the tiny, like the very thin.
right. Yeah.
Mullet.
What is that called in English?
Mullet.
Or yeah. Well,
No,
no,
it's-
not a mullet. Not a
We
mullet.
have
No.
it's a
I
rat
know,
tail.
but you can go for it.
That see, but then I'd have to go, like, move to the Midwest and play hockey, Brad. And I don't want to learn to do those things. Like, that's,
Right, dirt bikes.
nothing against the Midwest or anything like that. But although I do have to say, for football fans, this I'm only mentioning this because I know of Amal's love for the trappings of sports now that she's so into Blazeball. But so the big joke that was made today was yesterday Michigan was certified for Joe Biden, who is officially I mean, it's official. It's already been official. It's always official. But I'm glad that everyone's now caught up, including maybe not the last guy who's going to know is the guy being removed. Regardless, he was certified yesterday. And so the joke was Biden's won in Michigan so many times he's legally required to change his name to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a joke for those who have watched the Ohio State football team beat the hell out of Michigan for a long time. And these are supposed to be rivals, except Michigan has lost constantly. So that was a big,
I have to say, like, I saw that tweet. I saw that exact tweet. And I just, my whole body thrilled to the fact that I understood the shape of the joke.
Yeah, see?
Without knowing anything. I couldn't have told you what sport it was.
But now you know the glory of the sport frame, you know?
I love it so much. Also, Blazeball is during its siesta, having a weekly coffee cup, which is amazing. And it is on Tuesdays. It starts at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm very excited to, have this tiny, this drip, as it were, of coffee cup, Blazeball content once a week, and since in Blazeball every week is a year long, the coffee cup is 1 day a week. Every coffee cup round is 52 days long, so it is very good.
This is some like Narnia timekeeping stuff going on here. With this, I love it. Anyway, I'm glad that you appreciate the shape of the sport, dude, because that's exactly it. It's just like you get why some people be like, oh, what. Anyway, don't get me started on UConn Huskies Duke circa 1990s college. Anyway, let me start with the gentleman right below me, and that, of course, is Trendane Sparks, who is here and who is looking definitely more awake than last week. May still feel sleepy, but not as sleepy than as the case now. How you doing, Trend? Is that true? Are you feeling slightly more awake than that time?
I made myself lay down around 2:30, 3 o'clock. Or so, and then around 7 I was like, I can't do this anymore, I have to get up. And so I got up and I went and took a shower, and then I came back and sat back down. I'm like, there's another hour to go before we get started. And then we started having connection problems.
Oh God, I know.
You guys started having connection. I connected to Roll20 at like 4 o'clock in the morning, so I was fine.
Yes. For those who were hovered in the sanctuary of the shelter at his Roll20, yeah, we're starting a little late today because the Roll20 had connection issues, which were not just to us, but anyway, they're now fixed. Thank you to Roll20 for responding quickly. But how's life otherwise, Trent? And who are you playing today?
Life's pretty good, well, as I usually say, a panic scramble trying to get the audiobook finished.
Right.
Because it is due in 1 week. And so I think I might be able to get it done. I'm not sure. My raisins. I'm almost done with this 2-pound bag.
Let me see. Wait. I'm having some trouble. I can't keep your video up. I'm not.
What?
No, I'm having problems keeping your. Okay.
It's okay. I'll be fine. So, I'm trying to finish this BattleTech audiobook so that I can get it turned in 1 week when it's due, and then I get to start on the third one.
It's the life you chose, but
well,
you know.
yes, but I didn't choose the pandemic and the lockdown.
No, that's the part that you did not choose. Yes.
Nothing. I mean, I love my job so much, but this is really making me not want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really tough right now.
When not dealing with that nonsense, who are you playing?
Yes, when not dealing with that nonsense, I play a very tall chap named Tonibert the Hearthmender.
Mm-hmm.
I play a very tall guy named Thane Tonibert the Hearthmender, dwarf friend. There's his full name.
There you go.
Who used to be a really, really angry person, and now only gets angry at kind of injustices and people hurting his friends. And even then, he's still kind of fairly even keeled about it, but just don't push him to the point that he loses control again, because he's a bear. And I mean, he's a bear.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good cook too, like most bears I know. And this is what he looks like. He looks like that. Well, folded his head up. It doesn't normally have a cable.
That's what he looks like. He's like stretching his body out.
If that's too big, we can use the little bitty one.
Mm-hmm. From the pen, exactly.
Yeah.
This is continuing creating jealousy in Brad, who will get his own characters soon enough. We'll get his own drawing and all this stuff.
I completely forgot about that.
Someone.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's happened. Reminder's been made. But no, always a pleasure to have Tren with us. Yes.
Speaking of that character.
Yes. This person right here. That's right.
Yeah.
Also a good cook, not only in real life, but apparently whose character is critically important to the running of much of Broken Stone's culinary scene. I guess one could say. But that, of course, is Brad Bollier. Brad, good to see you. Welcome. How's life with you? How's life in the universe with you? And who are you playing today, sir?
Things are good. It's a bit calmer in the last few days, which is a good thing.
It's nice.
Not fully calm, but we're getting there. And I'm playing Bolo Brastuk, Bolo, who appears to be caught between 3, perhaps 4 different career choices, and he's not quite sure which he's going to choose at this moment, but we shall see.
It's true. Yeah, the career seems to choose the halfling, not the other way around. Well, we'll find out what ends up happening in the end. But yes, I am very excited to see how
They all
Polo.
depend on flanks here.
Yeah, it's like exactly. Well, there's a whole Venn diagram, and in the middle is flank sear that like ties all of it together somehow.
Adventurer, clang,
yeah, exactly.
Poison maker.
Right. It's all about that, like loyalty provider, like because you want to get it back.
Right.
Anyway, but it's a pleasure to have Brad with us, and it's also a pleasure to have Terry Tunes with us, who we just called out as not having done her amazing illustrations. And as I always say to talented people, if you would just suck more at your jobs, you wouldn't be in demand. So this is no one's fault. If you were just a terrible cartoonist, Terry, then no one would care that you hadn't produced, the birthright, which is Brad's character of being a halfling. I'm joking, but how are you? How's life in the universe, and who are you playing?
I am so sorry. I completely forgot. Like, oh god. Like, this is why people need to remind me of things, because I have a terrible memory, and like I've been so busy with just sewing things left and right for the past weeks. So I'm good, better than last week anyway. And I've been very busy with sewing things, and which I would love to share photos of on Instagram, but the camera in my phone broke. So
show the finished piece that you started.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The coat of arms.
I was.
You do have a functioning camera right now.
Right now,
so,
yeah. This works.
Yeah, just crap quality. So yeah, I made my coat of arms.
Yeah, look at that. It's also kind of Christmassy. It strikes me. It like has.
Yeah,
that,
well, these are supposed to be Christmas tree ornaments.
Oh, well.
So
there you go.
Yeah, that's what I made them for. Though, like, the thing is, I like these so much, I'm gonna probably keep them out all year round. So, at least some of them, the better ones. Like, I still have like 7 hoops to go, I think. So yeah. Aside from that, I am playing Inga Homefinder, daughter of Ida, and Council of Dine the Second, King Dine the Second, I guess. So yeah, it's me.
I am very happy as always
Um,
to have Terry with us.
Thank you.
Oh.
But yeah, she is a dwarf and a wanderer and a stonemason and
has
has
a
a trusty
friend.
pony sidekick named Lilleman.
Exactly. Who
Yes.
has, although the party has not seen him for a while, is probably fine and not somewhere else, perhaps. No, I'm just,
I would
The thing is, I'm so desensitized right now.
that's
from
it. I know.
playing,
So that's the thing. I've
from
cried wolf so many times.
No, that's not even the problem. Like,
Oh.
it's just like because I've been playing Tomb of Annihilation for half a year now, and we finally made it into the Tomb of Annihilation last week.
Oh, well,
so
congratulations.
after half a year.
Enjoy being
of, like,
annihilated.
playing every week.
Enjoy your annihilation. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm on my third character now, so.
That is a deadly module. But yeah, thank you, Terry. Always a pleasure to have Terry with us, and also always a pleasure to have previously announced Blazeball fan Amal Amatar. Hello, Amal. And yeah, so other than following Blazeball and being super fan, how has life been for you? How are you doing, and who are you playing today?
It has been okay. I have been marking so many papers.
I know that feel.
I
All the papers.
I finished up on Sunday, and then all of yesterday I could not process text. I was just trying not to stare at actual screens and stuff, and trying to solidify the melted parts of my brain. But it was other than that, not bad. I do love Blazeball so much. It is so good and makes me so happy. And God, I could have sworn I had something I was gonna say, but I have forgotten it because I'm still quite impaired. So yeah.
I like that piece behind you, Amal, by the way.
This one?
Yeah.
Thank you. It is a Lady of Shalott by, I have forgotten which pre-Raphaelite artist it is, but it is one that I love very much. And this room is still a work in progress, especially as a thing I realized is this was a thing that happened. Did you guys see that Jeb Bush picked a fight with Rate My Skype Room on Twitter?
Yes, and I didn't really see.
Yeah.
I just saw it from a distance. I was like, I'm not even going to go over to that hell site room, that hell room. Is it?
It was a thing. It was amazing. But it did make me realize that there is a Twitter account called Rate My Skype Room and also Rate My Zoom Room and stuff. And so I just know that if they were to rate this background, I would not get a very good grade. If there's something missing on this side.
Yeah. It's not well balanced at the moment.
Not balanced. So that lack of balance continues to trouble me.
Yeah, you need a long piece on the left side there.
I do, exactly. But the whole thing is that there is, you can't quite see, but there's a bed right here.
Okay.
And that is not going to be a permanent fixture. And I would quite like to have a second bookshelf in that space. So it is a tricky arrangement of it. I'd rather bookshelves got pushed more there, art got moved more behind me. So work in progress. But
simple solution. Just get a Murphy bed that looks like a bookshelf.
That's a really good idea.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you're ready, Amal, you let us know and we'll submit to the Raider room.
Yay.
That's right. Listen, you haven't lived until you've had a Skype room that involves debate trophies and a huge talking Gandalf statue with a stuffed bison on this side, and then a bunch of cards from my children on this side. That is the quality room that we need from in this time of sorrow.
I do definitely have. I mean, all the things that the untidy things that you cannot see are scattered all about here and on the floor and stuff. So there is correspondence. There's stationary stuff. There are awards up that way.
Awards, and that's only a small sampling, a representative sampling of the awards, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I still have to like try and maintain the balance and how much do I want to flex on my students and stuff. But anyway, point is, I am playing a I'm playing a character named the River. She is a woodsman of Rosgobel, and she is a fighty bard who has a hound of Mirkwood, who is faithful and wonderful, named Stone, who I'm sure is still alive.
Well, funny thing. No,
Yeah, because
just
I
joking.
wasn't here last week, and I'm sure that nothing untoward occurred or
No.
took place.
No, not at
No.
all. I mean,
I cut out a piece of Kelda's tongue to make sure to test it, and then when I was done with it, I fed it to Stone, and he died. But
the first part of that is true. The second part is a complete lie in every respect. And I think we've had enough of lying in this country, and I'll thank you not to contribute to it for a while.
but raisins are good.
I'm so tired. You guys, the thing I want to say is I'm just so sleepy. I'm just gonna huff this beeswax candle which I have here, which I'm also probably going to light because lately, whenever I have started Zoom calls and stuff, I have lit a candle for no reason other than I am slightly pyromaniacal, and yeah.
I keep lavender oil for the same reason right here at my desk.
Very nice, very nice. Well, let us use those things to bring us into the world of Middle Earth as we spiral in here on what happened. Oh, I love it with the with the match too. That's very nice. It's very nice. As the candle is lit, let us discuss what happened in our last session. It has been a busy time for the Heroes of Dale. I keep wanting to say the Heroes of Dale plus Bolo, but Bolo can also be a hero of Dale. It's fine. He's certainly a hero of the kitchen in Dale, and so that I think means that we could just classify you as being part of the Heroes of Dale. So the Heroes of Dale have been quite busy in trying to untangle a new conspiracy. And the conspiracy actually works on several levels. The first part of the conspiracy apparently involved a, as yet unknown to most of the people of Dale, poisoning of Queen Una, Bard's queen, King Bard's queen. This became known to Tawny when Tawny actually did a little bit of follow-up work on trying to figure out what was going on at the palace and certain other things, and was trying to report on some information about what was happening in a larger sense within the city. An ambush the party had faced, for example, and the attack on the well-known and beloved seamstress Kelda. And so the party wanted to figure out what was going on. Tani discovered that Queen Una had been poisoned. What was not known to Tani at the time was the specific nature of the poison, because to find an antidote, one needs to find the poison first. And in the process of doing this, Tani has now been assisted by a few things. The first is being able to gather some material from the body of the now dead seamstress Kelda, who was killed through smoke inhalation within her own home, an attack that was taken place on the request of the bandit Longo, about which more in a moment, and gathering information as well about, on the tongue, what exactly was creating the poison. What the party has discovered over time is that apparently the responsible situation for this is the question of thread. And there are particular reasons that this thread thing was going on. First, the party in our last session went to visit Fanner, a leather worker who is one of two merchants responsible for coordinating this Festival of Trade and Commerce, which is going to be happening in a few days time within Dale. So the party went to find Fanner. Fanner, it turned out, was, fine and ran a very smelly leather shop, but didn't actually do anything associated with this, or didn't know a whole lot, except to say that Fanner had worked with Kelda, but had also worked with Rafe, a silk merchant, who was the real sort of coordinator of this festival. And so the party also went to track down Rafe, the silk merchant. In the meantime, while the party was gathering this information, and Tani was cutting out pieces of Kelda's tongue to gather this and all that sort of thing, while this was happening, Bolo was also dealing with Brindle, the thief who runs the Broken Stone Irregulars, who made it clear that she was determined to figure out a way to find out more information about to find out what was going on in her city and also in her particular area, and to find a way to bring things home to this mysterious bandit Longo. The party had their suspicions about who Longo might be. They thought that it might be a character that they had met at the very beginning of this adventure, an otherwise inoffensive-looking hobbit named Clovis, but they had not really nailed this down completely until, tracing down this question of the thread, they found this information. Bolo having left Brindle telling him, okay, here's the deal, you've got to figure out what's going on and go take your heroes, but remember, you're always one of us, fundamentally. Bolo did a quick detour back to the battered mug, where he discovered that he was desperately in need of, they needed his help, and, so he managed to sneak out to be like, oh, I'm going to go get an ingredient, and then left to go deal with his party. And when he gathered up with the rest of the party then visited Rafe, this silk merchant, who was apparently distraught by the loss of Kelda, had known her very well, was distraught by what is happening to the merchant community, and confirmed that the skeins of thread, which were normally brought in to help with fine silk work, had been in short supply over the last week or so. Actually, for a couple of months, the thread supply had been diminishing. And the two dwarves at the beginning of the adventure that the party had helped, you may remember there was a wagon that fell over and a lot of the cargo in that wagon was destroyed and so on, run by these two dwarves. Those two dwarves were in fact bringing supplies, some of which included these skeins of thread. And when those went missing, the supply problems got even worse. In the meantime, someone had been going around for the last month or so, advertising, if you will, trying to sell different kinds of thread, which apparently some merchants actually took them up on because it was much cheaper and because it was available and they needed thread at one level or another. What the party had discovered is that the poisoning almost certainly was happening as a consequence of the thread, that when the person would lick the thread, that would create this effect of getting the poison gradually into their system. And both Kelda and Queen Una obviously did a lot of work with embroidery, and this ended up being something which may have laid Queen Una low and was evident in Kelda, though it is not that poison ultimately that killed her. The big reveal at the very end of last week's session was when the party, trying to gather this information, speaking to Rafe looked at the books of who had sold him the thread and discovered that the person who sold him the thread was none other than one Clovis, the previously heretofore inoffensive, perfectly normal, regular hobbit. And so as we bring things back to the present, I'm going to bring things back over to the party. You are standing still in Rafe's room, with Rafe having revealed this information to you, that it was Clovis who originally had been trying to sell the thread. And I should say, actually, let me not misspeak, Rafe had turned him away. Rafe said that he had not wanted any of this because he wanted only the best quality thread. But he knew that Clovis had been going to various merchants trying to sell them this thread ultimately. Last note, Bolo also knows where the hideout is and believes, for the bandits, and believes that there is a secret entrance to it, though the party needs to find that secret entrance if they wish to try to get into where that hideout is. And now I will hand things back over to the party.
And one last bit from last week.
Yes.
Brindle made it clear that she has people on standby.
Oh, yes.
For tonight.
That's right, and it's tonight that is the plan, so wanted you to be there. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, thank you.
So we have some backup tonight, so we were talking about at least exploring, the hideout and at least seeing if we can find out what this threat is about at the minimum, because we're at the point where I think we need to, something might be happening soon and we should find out more. So. Okay.
Were we at any, was there enough discovered about the poison to create an antidote, or not yet?
Yeah, I would say not yet, although it's definitely narrowed down the possibilities for what it could be. It's definitely from some kind of concoction or substance or... not a poultice, I guess a distillation of stuff of herbs which can be found in the far north, usually in the waste. It is not common to this immediate area of Dale or south.
Did we make any connection between the berries that we found when we were ambushed and this poison?
I don't think you've asked about that yet.
Yeah, but
we still have those, right?
it's only been a couple of days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we still have those berries. Okay, well, so what is our current situation? Where are we right
So
now?
you were in Rafe's room, basically this silk merchant's room, who has just told you, dun dun dun, Clovis is the one who was trying to sell me this thread.
Okay. I'm trying to just see if there's like a, obviously because I wasn't here last week, is there an obvious segue to...
We can
Remember
segue. Yeah. Well, we can. I mean, you can definitely segue. Also, I mean, I think you've had whatever conversation you need to have with Rafe, is my guess. So we could definitely just jump forward a few minutes to being right outside. Having said goodbye, being right outside his place, and then deciding where you want to go. You already know the sort of time frame. I think we were saying it's about 4-ish. Or 4:30, somewhere in there, maybe 5, but around that time period in the afternoon. And at dusk, which is when Brindle is going to be expecting Bolo and the rest of you, that's somewhere around, this is late summer, so we're talking like maybe 8 to 8:30. So you've got about 4 hours-ish, basically, to decide what you want to do before you go actually do this thing. And yeah, so
I'm going to assume that after having learned some, presumably having been brooding on the issue of Kelda's tongue having been cut out, and this poison having been discovered, and the idea that the poison is from far away, that River's just been kind of like turning this over for a while, and that after she's been silent for a moment, she'll say, actually, I'm trying to remember like who of us had the berries or something.
I don't remember that. I would assume it's Tawny, but I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, it would make sense that it would be Tawny, because we'd bring them to Tawny. I can see River like looking up at Tawny and saying, Tawny, do you still have the berries that we found by the river when we were ambushed?
Yes, I believe I do.
I remember you saying that they were not from around here, that they were from some distant land. And I can't help but wonder if they are associated with Longo and the people who were working for him, that they might have a connection to the poison?
And at the mention of connections, finally, one is made in Tawny's Agil's brain, and he's like, right. And he starts taking the berries out and examining them more closely, he's like looking around for a place to start putting some of his vials down.
Okay.
It's like,
He just drops on the street and just starts.
Right,
clicking.
exactly.
Pretty much. He really is like his other
Since
character.
we're right there in the market district, it's like everybody's like, "Oh, are you selling vials?" No, I'm working.
Vials right here. Give me 1 second. I just want to grab 2 books here. Talk about yourself for a second.
All right. Well,
We can head back to the inn to rest, make a plan, and do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. We solved it while you were gone.
He's on our back. We now
Make a
have
couple plates at the broken mug while I'm on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to jump in there or not? Like, do you want to actually pop in, or you'll never escape? So now you have this stuff sort of arrayed in front of you. So what are you going to attempt to determine, Tawny, I guess?
Actually, we determined that we were going to go back to the inn and work on that. Is that what we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
rather
we're
than
not
doing it here in
We're
the
not
street.
observed doing this stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so the inn that you were staying, not the Battered Mug, at the moment, right?
Correct.
This could be the longest ingredient run of all
I was
time.
joking about dropping in just on the way.
Yeah.
If
How's
this
everyone
is the
doing?
same-
Okay, great.
This is the same
When-
poison. I can just
Please.
coat the plates in it, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of curiosity, so now that we know, actually, this is the other thing, now that we know for sure Longo's connection in these ways and stuff, I think we'll probably just want to take when we get back to the inn, I feel like River would probably want to give the place a once-over of, like, has this been messed with in some way? Has it been, I don't know,
Okay.
just, is it actually safe and secure?
Make an investigation check for me, please.
Yeah, actually,
Check.
and Stone will want to, like, sniff at things. So.
Make certain that you check everything that we would, in the course of using it, lick.
Right. So, oops, that's Stone's sheet. I need my sheet. I have it. Gosh, every time I have more than like a week away, I'm like, wait, where is everything again?
Mm-hmm.
Investigation. So I believe this should be at advantage with Stone.
Yes, I would say so. Sure.
Ouch.
Well, for all the good that did.
Take the 5.
Okay.
Yeah, take 5.
Let me pull up my dice roller because I realized I did not have that up. So you rolled a 5.
I guess so.
There we go. I see it. So it looks safe to you. I mean,
Yeah.
everything seems safe. Stone sniffs around a little bit and is kind of, snorts. Seems perfect.
Bolo has a very strong urge to sneak away and look for do a little bit of canvassing around the area that we're supposed to be looking for the hideout. But I've learned my lesson from our time in the swamp. So I say it to the group. Should some of us go and sort of just check out the area we're going to be going to before we head there? Because we don't know specifically where this whatchamacallit, the secret entrance, whatever it is.
I agree, but no. Let's all stay put together. If you were to be found out while you were looking for this, then we would have no way of knowing. I mean, no. Let us one thing at a time. For once. We've been doing so many things in town. I
That's
think
true, but I worry about 4 of us going and scouting an area when we might be watched for by Longo's people.
that is a
I'm
good
not
point.
particularly stealthy.
That's true.
Say again?
I'm not particularly stealthy.
I'm not suggesting that we need to all be scouting it at the same time, but to all be within, say, shouting distance of each other, while one of us is scouting might be a better plan.
Fair enough. Good plan. I like it.
Okay, so otherwise you were back in your room, which seems perfectly safe.
Damn it! No! It's so stupid now! Can I just do it again?
No, this takes into account that you did it.
I think
So
River will voice, though, as she is, clearly distracted for some reason, will say, I think we shouldn't take for granted that anywhere that we are speaking or working in the city is safe, and it might be good to take stock of our surroundings more often. Do as I say, not as I do.
so use my
So-
care and precision. Yeah.
So that guy standing behind the door is not supposed to be in here?
Under a lampshade. Okay, so once you have a chance to, Tani, actually start opening this up in alleged security and safety, what are you engaged in doing? What exactly are you going to try to determine? As best you can?
The herbalism kit that he carries with him has several things like alembics and whatnot. Not like Weller's stuff, but
No.
smaller travel versions of them for making poppy juice and whatnot. So he's basically trying to distill something from the berries, and also from getting what he can from the thread to see if he can get it in a more stable solution so that he can compare the two, because he knows that this thread is coated with the poison because it reacted
Right.
in the sizzling thing. So
Right.
it's still viable in this thread for now. So he's going to try to stabilize that in a solution and then produce a solution from the berries and then compare the two to see if that's what this is.
Okay, I'm going to ask you for 2 checks. First is a medicine check to see if you can do all that stabilization that you just described.
Well, obviously I can because I just described it.
Well, I mean, yes.
22.
Yes, I
Like
think
I
you're able
said.
to do that. It's I knew it all along.
Yes.
So yes, you are able to stabilize it as far as you can tell, so that you have these things sort of isolated, but also somewhat preserved, barring the vials being broken or something like that. The second part of it, though, once that's stabilized, the second thing I'm going to ask you to make a nature check, and this is basically you trying to determine the nature. Joke, haha. No, different nature. But you're trying to determine the berries and their origin, and that sort of thing.
Do you want an
Never mind. 8. The inspiration would have been good.
It might have. You need that pause. You need that. So you
The
don't.
room's safe.
Yeah, you do.
Right.
Yeah, perfectly. The one thing that you can say for sure from this, Tani, is that the berries that you found, which remember you found kind of strewn along your path in several spots when you were heading to the south of Dale, not to the north.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I mentioned to you at the time was the fact that it was definitely not native to that area. You're pretty confident it's not native to this area either. You have not seen berries of this kind. And you wouldn't necessarily see them either in berry form at this time. You know, this is the kind of thing that you would expect these things in late summer like this to have like flowered and gone to, like, you wouldn't see it like this here. So that suggests that it comes from a different climate. What climate, whether north, south, west, or east, is not clear. Maybe you can rule out somewhat of the south because you're pretty confident it didn't come from that marshy, swampy area to the south, but you're a little fuzzy on whether that's the case, and definitely not, you know, so that's the case. You don't know northwest or east necessarily where this thing might have come from. The one thing you can say is you don't think the berries are themselves the poison because it doesn't react in the same way, and that doesn't require much of a check. You can do that by looking at the solution. But as far as where they come from, little fuzzy.
Well, I can probably rule out the Vales as well because I live there.
Yeah, that's yes. Mm-hmm.
But probably not Mirkwood because I didn't spend a lot of time in Mirkwood itself.
Definitely.
River
Right.
has though. Can like if we're pooling knowledge about this.
Well, Tawny's probably talking about it as he's going through.
Right. I would say, River, that you probably... Well, you know what? Make a nature check for me.
Yes.
No. Just wondering if Inge would viably know anything about this, but unless it has anything to do with alcohol, probably not.
I love this alternate 20 that
I know, exactly. Perfectly safe, River. Everything. No, I'm just kidding. It's not even the question you asked. Yeah, you don't remember having seen berries of this kind, but as you know, Mirkwood and the environs, and certainly even Roscabel itself and the area around it is enormous. You know, there are lots and lots of things and dark areas that people don't go. For example, none of you have hung out very much near Dol Guldur, except in your dreams. And so, plant life around there, who knows? Yeah, so.
I think River will say though, as she's looking at Tawny doing this stuff, it's just that. So, what about the stem of it? What about the green of it? I mean,
Maybe the seeds separately too. I was thinking if it has, well, it must have seeds.
Well, I can check them all, but that's going to take a lot longer.
Unless it's a stone fruit, then it has a stone. But then it wouldn't be a berry, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not a botanist. God damn it! I don't know things.
You know that actually there are, I think one of the oldest berries, but botanically speaking, is a yew berry, because the berry flesh doesn't close around the seed.
Oh yeah.
That is apparently a new technology that botany developed in terms of fully enclosing the
Right.
seed.
Oh.
But
Is that
yeah.
EWE?
Sorry.
You, as in a sheep?
YEW.
YEW.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Free.
Like
yeah.
the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
The
very
tree
good for making
has
bows.
berries.
Yes.
The tree has berries, and the berries are like bells, basically, where it's like a red flesh bell
Yeah.
around the seed clapper.
That's super cool. Interesting.
Cool. Anyway. But
Oh, that tree.
yeah.
Eibe.
It's represented in Norse runes, actually.
Yes, I was about to say.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what speculated the Yggdrasil is actually a yew tree. So there you go.
So yeah. Anyway, so my point is that River will speculate about that, just looking at any other part of it.
I can, yes, but it will take longer.
We do have some few hours before.
We would be cutting it very, very close.
I just remembered that I'm playing what is basically a ranger. The Wanderer class, so Inga might actually have some sort of idea about these berries.
Possibly. Let me have you make a nature check too.
Yeah. travels, you know.
Hey,
Since you
that's
Hey,
basically
there we go.
How didn't I
Of
recognize these before?
Because we didn't give them to her. You had to
Berries,
call
my
me.
old friends. Hugs the berries.
Okay, so basically,
Part of my family
Inge,
crest.
Inge like stands.
Wait, I made these berries myself. Like,
No, Inge like basically stands and rubs her chin, or rather her beard, I guess, and goes, "These look oddly familiar. Oh no! I think I almost ate these when I was a little kid,
it was a terrible
and my
time.
parents like barely,
Yeah,
like
I almost died from it.
yeah, like my parents barely managed to keep me from eating them in time. So
They told me never forget, and I promised I never would.
What happened to me?
pronounce the
That's why I have
names.
this ribbon around my finger.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the other ribbon I have around my other finger to remind me of these berries.
Oh man.
I can remember all in Harry Potter. Like, it tells me I've forgotten something, but I can't remember.
I can't remember what it was. And the person who was actually literally hiding in the lampshade's like, well, my job's done. Takes off their shade, like walks out the room. Okay, let me move you all over to the larger Wilderland Adventures map for a minute. Larger map, I should say, overall, not Wilderland anymore.
And so on.
But so I want to zoom everybody in here for a moment. So you obviously have had the opportunity to wander far and wide. We have here. This is not accurate. All of you are farther north than this. So you're all like up there. But you've got Erebor, you've got Dale where you are right now. You all remember having traveled up into the Withered Heath and all that stuff with the dragon. But
Trying not to.
the time that you remember sort of wandering through, you do remember having seen certain plants and things which have a similar kind of berry structure, specifically the gatherings of them. These are gathered in groups of 3, and there are these, 3 berries, 3 berries, 3 berries. There's a sort of dark, really kind of a dark crimson color to them. And you remember having seen that these are usually found somewhere farther to the north, specifically somewhere in, and I will roughly trace it, like around here-ish. From the northern Dalelands through into the waste. In short, they generally come from the same theoretical region that that the poison would be coming from, although, as I said, these are definitely not the poison, but it definitely comes from that area. To the north.
Would Inge
Oh yeah,
know-
Inge
would
recounts that.
know- Yeah. I was curious.
I have a
what Inge-
natural 20. Inge knows everything that is to know
Yeah,
about
everything.
this
I was
plant.
wondering if you know a use or purpose.
Hey,
of
could you
these.
synthesize it? Could you build it?
Knows like the Latin name for it on the top of her head and everything.
Yeah, exactly. No. In fact, generally these berries themselves have somewhat of a bitter taste, but otherwise they're just sort of incidental. You're not, you yourself are not really a alchemist or an herbalist of any kind, Inga, so you haven't done a whole lot of work with this stuff. You know that they're not really very edible. They're not poisonous, but they're just not very good. So they're not really edible. And so this is one reason perhaps why you might not have thought of it before, because it would be like walking along and being like, oh yeah, I know what, I don't know, like a common weed or like, I know what a dandelion is, right? But I would never have thought of a dandelion being something which was important in this context. So, yeah, as far as you know, there's no medicinal purpose, but you're not yourself an herbalist, so.
Just like the berry, or like are there any other parts of the plant used? Like
There is kind of
roots, for
it
example?
comes from a very, as you recall, it comes from a very bushy, kind of squat sort of plant, which is the kind that you often find in the waste in the northern Dalelands, sort of basically kind of strong and wiry and low to the ground, so they're less affected by the lack of tree cover, and they can sort of stand up to the wind and that sort of thing. So that's basically what you know them from.
No, like I was like wondering if I know if any of the other parts of the plants have any use.
Yeah, no, not that you know of.
Okay.
No.
Interesting. So this could be a situation like a poppy where the flower itself is not particularly narcotic, but you can make dare I say, opium as opposed to like milk of the poppy in very Game of Thrones ways. Whatever.
Wait, that's what milk of the poppy is?
Yes,
Yeah.
opium. Yeah, I know. I'm so pleased to have been the person to reveal this to you. But I know.
It's poppy, not puppy. Because like I didn't read the books, I only watched the show, so I didn't know how it was spelled. I always thought it was Puppy, like puppy.
Milk of the little cute puppy.
Oh.
It was, pardon the pun, but it was far less palatable than saying dog squeezings. So
Oh,
they decided to go with
oh
puppy.
God! What
Milk of the
just?
puppy was easy.
Like I just thought it was like some
Real bad.
fantasy type of
Like
thing, you know? And it was like,
wringing out
oh,
a
it makes you
dachshund.
sleepy,
Nope.
so it's like a little cute little puppy that falls asleep or something.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
Hey,
It's
that is
oh,
fantastic.
See,
I
did
didn't-
you see Wizard of Oz, Terry, as a kid? Because
not as a kid, but I did see it.
because growing up, that was the thing that and actually Tintin books, because there are a couple of books that are about the opium trade and that deal with that question, and so at some points poppies come up within that time. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have read Tintin in English, though.
Right.
No, that's true. You would have right. That's true. So you wouldn't have noticed it, yeah. Yeah.
Man.
So you would not
And
have thought of it
also-
as a German puppy, for example.
No,
It was
like
only
the
English.
German name for poppy with with an O is Mohn or Mohnblume.
Oh.
So
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and watch Cadfile, which is like a Sherlock Holmes, well, it's like CSI 1600s sort of thing, where Derek Jacobi plays a monk who's a former soldier. He's a monk who is an herbalist, and he works in the herbarium, and he gives poppy juice to people all the time, and so yeah, that's
What show was that?
So speaking of
Cadfile.
like herbalism, I just have this book on my desk right now.
I think it's supposed to be quite medieval, isn't it? Not like.
Yeah,
like-
it's Hildegard von Bingen, who was like this nun
Yeah.
in like I forgot, in the 11th century and 11th to 12th century, who was like very well known for her herbalism skills and being a healer and stuff like that.
and that's spelled Cadfael, Cadfile. It's Welsh for battle prince.
Oh, okay.
My favorite thing that I ever learned from a herbiary is there's a early modern herbiary at Lights Carey Manor in Somerset, just outside of Glastonbury, and so there's like a facsimile copy of the herbiary itself, and it has an entry on pomegranates, and it says there are two kinds of pomegranates: the wild and the tame. And it was just very evocative and
Yeah.
very beautiful to me.
Yeah, it's cool.
Anyway, so yeah, back to the game. So essentially, I mean, I think it has to be left up to. So we've learned something about the nature of the berry, but it is kind of like Tawny's wheelhouse, whether or what pomegranate.
Pomegranate from
Yeah.
my herbal medicines
Hey, hooray!
guide, which I keep handy for lots of stuff.
Excellent. So, but so it is like Tawny's wheelhouse to know whether the berry is in a relationship to poison or antidote, like a poppy is in a relationship to opium. Like it's you might not get relief from chewing on a poppy flower, but you can make a medicine from it. Versus, so that's like, I don't know. I guess that's where we're at. Is it something that you can make something of, or is it just evidence?
Well-
that these two
And remember, they're two different plants too. Remember that they're not the same thing. So they're from the same region, but this is not, the berry is not part of the same substance that you think poisoned the thread.
Oh, okay. So we're,
Yeah, they're just from the same region though of Wilderland, you believe.
Does Inge recall any other plants from that region that are known to be poisonous? Checking my known lands right now because that might be relevant for this question. So wait, what is that? That is the Waste and Northern Daylands.
yeah, and actually, like, I don't know if that should help Tawny either in terms of are there poisonous things that you know of from that region?
I do have the Northern Daylands as my as known lands.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you do know of certain, poisonous substances that are meant to be that should be avoided, and you can. One of the ways you were able to tell that when you were younger, Inga, traveling in these regions, is you would also know which things the animals avoided, right? It's always making sure to see what the animals avoid first, whether it be watering holes or particular kinds of plants. That gives you an idea of what's likely to be poisonous for non-animals, for dwarves and the like. But so you know about that. The thing about this, though, is that almost all of these poisons tend to be considerably faster acting in their natural state. Poison generally has to be distilled, right? It has to be brought down from another source. There are things in the world, of course, which are very poisonous, but those things which are very poisonous, as I say, are very obviously don't do this because you will immediately know you're poisoned. Like, there's no slow acting, eat this over a long period of time and you'll gradually get poisoned kind of thing that you would be aware of. It usually has to be distilled from something else. And you don't really know a whole lot about the distillation process of these things because you weren't into poisons. So that's what you would say. So there's definitely a few things that you would know of that would be poisonous, but not in this sort of slow acting way, nor something, frankly, which would be this unstable in its poison form. Because as Tani pointed out, you're able to determine that when it's not bound to a substance, it breaks apart very quickly. So it's about being bound to a substance when exposed to the open air, I mean. So when it's exposed to the open air, it needs to be bound to something else or it's going to break down very fast. And you don't know of any poison that works that way, frankly.
So yeah, Inga recounts that she doesn't know of any plants in that area that would act like that on their own. I mean, I'm not an expert, but that kind of makes it look like we have a very skilled, what do you call it, poison maker on our hands here.
We also can't rule out the possibility that it may not be a poison, but rather a venom. There are several venoms which break down very quickly on their own. But, for example, some spiders, when they envenom a victim, the venom remains in their system, either dissolving or paralyzing them for extended periods of time.
Wait, did we not? Sorry, I'm sorry to just keep on being like, did we not do a thing with a stuffed? Do we still? Am I misremembering that there was an arrow situation that
Black arrow that we found that was shot through the.
Mm-hmm.
Was that poison?
No.
No. Okay.
It was just a really good shot. I believe it was through his throat, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
Was so poisonous he
It was
died
so
instantly.
If he could have spoken, he would be like, it's the poison that's killing me. Like,
Obviously.
Okay, so like I don't know shit about chemistry, but like I know that when you want to test fabrics, like what type of fabric that is, that whether or not it's a protein-based fiber or fiber-based fiber. God, I hate the English language sometimes.
same.
Like it reacts differently when set on fire. Is there a similar test that can be done with poisons and or venoms? Because like if it's a venom, then it would be protein based, right? Unlike when it's from a plant, right?
I'm trying to think about the limits of our
chemical
I mean,
knowledge.
is this starting to get a little CSI-ish?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm wondering.
I mean,
They would
that's
certainly know
like
the
kind
basics,
of stuff
but like,
that Toddy would know, right?
yeah. I mean, I figure there's probably stuff. I mean, I guess the question is, can Tawny tell if a poison is plant-based or venom-based?
Yeah, basically.
well,
I
yes,
phrased
okay,
it
that's
like
fair.
that.
That's fair. I was thinking like proteins,
I
fibers.
meant.
I'm like,
Sorry.
Germ theory.
yeah. Your guess, Tawny, is that this is probably more likely to be plant-based, but you can't rule out the possibility. Let me put it this way. There's one thing you know for sure. This was manufactured somehow. So whether it was that a reagent was placed in it to create something and since then has merged into this substance, or whether it was that it was, aged for a certain time or exposed to certain things, that's not certain. I will say that both the River would know this and probably Tawny for different reasons. There are also things which can be, as I said, in quotes, manufactured through the use of shadow. It's not impossible that this could be done. Remember, for example, this rock fever that Inga's mother had, and that was shadow-derived in part, right? It was an illness which was shadow-derived, but the point is that was partly the absorption of shadow. So I don't want to make shadow start sounding like to jump out of game for a second, like midichlorians or some garbage like that, which is
Those
taking
don't
stuff
exist.
away. Yeah, they definitely don't. But I don't want to do
Hardcore
that.
mojo.
But I
Woven into something.
yeah, exactly. But the idea is that the influence, the corrupting effect of these things, even if you remember in Tolkien's work, Tolkien makes very clear that there are things which themselves, trees and so forth, which have been twisted by the experience of existing in this shadow. So it's not just, does not just have an effect on humans, dwarves, elves, halflings, it also, Bjornings, but it also is the effect that it can have on the living world. So it's possible that this also could have been, but doing something like that would be very difficult and difficult to conceal, and certainly not something which would happen in a civilized society without attracting notice, which is yet more proof that it could not possibly have been made in Dale. There would have been, someone would have picked up something very wrong was happening. So yeah.
So the so we have been tracing last week, then we were looking at books, right, and like tracing supply lines and things like that, and recognizing where there were opportunities to disrupt shipments and stuff like that. No, actually, so I guess, so essentially, I guess, as River is like taking all of this in, I'm imagining her. I'm also, incidentally, I'm sorry that I keep getting up and might have had back problems.
No, the back thing, I know. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm also in a kneeling chair right now, so it like.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gets me on my shins, and I have to like shake them out. So anyway, so I'm imagining River is sort of half, sort of half sitting on the bed, half standing, essentially, like leaning back and thinking, and says, well, the poison might not be made here, but if it's not unstable, then presumably the threads are being poisoned here, are being prepared here. And it seems most likely that that would happen at a secret base of operations.
One would hope.
I mean, who knows how many of those Wongo actually has. Clovis. But I think our next step then should be to find our way into his place. And she looks to Bolo at this point and says, so I suppose you're up next, Bolo.
That seemed very difficult for you for some reason.
What? Oh.
Well, Bolo,
Oh,
it's your time to shine.
Looking at him like, this is a weight of responsibility.
yeah.
But she will also say, like, it's been very astonishing to see you embedding so successfully and completely with such very dangerous people, and I just want to make sure that you know that this is a dangerous situation.
Oh, certainly. Brindle is no one to be fooled with. I know that. And neither is Longo.
Right. All right. Well, how would you like to go about this then? We
Well,
can be backup.
we think we know the location of the hideout. I think we need to do a bit of reconnoitering around it to see if we can find the secret entrance. And I forget what clues we had about that.
Oh yeah, did the guy that I talked to who, I can't remember now.
Vig, I believe.
Yes. I mean, he told us where the thing was, but did he mention the secret entrance?
He didn't, but it wasn't. You don't get the impression he's trying to hide it from you. It just was sort of like, you know. But yeah.
But he's nowhere. He's not accessible presently. Presumably.
He's on his way to Haven at Midway.
He's on his way to Haven. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Theoretically, yeah. I mean, you don't know.
I
but
was
that's
going to
the-
say supposedly.
I mean,
He
But,
may
oh.
not have made it past the gates before catching an arrow in his throat.
Bolo's like, I'm Vig. Ah. Like, you know.
It's all right. Well, I suppose we have some experience looking for secret entrances to places. At least
Not-
this isn't a wizard. At least this isn't a withered heath.
Well, in some ways, I would think that would make it more difficult. There, we weren't being observed from every potential corner, or potentially observed from every corner. We're known here.
That's true.
Well, we could at least. I don't think we've scouted the area to this point. Maybe we should at least do that. Circle the area a bit and just get a sense for what this neighborhood is like, what we need to be on the watch for, that sort of thing.
Do we have any maps of the area ourselves?
I think you might be able to have some maps. The area that I would sort of show you here, your best guess based on what information Bolo gave you, also what Vig told you. How about I move the big dice roller out of the way so Chat can see it too? Is somewhere around here in the southeastern corner portion of Brokenstone, not far from the keys, is where you had been told this thing might be found. And this thing, supposedly, it's sort of notable. Let me zoom in a bit. It's notable in part because, although you haven't seen it yet, it's sort of off by itself. Let me just move this X here for a second. Right here, I guess I'll put a little text in. Where's my text here? Yeah, text. So, hideout, question mark. So, this thing right here is notable because it's sort of a little bit separate from some of the other buildings around it, which makes it a little unusual, frankly, because most of the time, most of these buildings are in sort of close proximity to each other. If you even think about Kelda's house, you know, it's pretty much like right on top of a bunch of these other houses that are right next to it. But this thing is by itself and is what was basically thought to be an abandoned warehouse. Now, more than that, you don't know without actually going to look at it. But you do know that there are buildings around it that you can probably see here. Buildings that are sort of like, again, clustered together. This is an area where, in fact, there's a few of these warehouse things, but not sort of on their own right in the middle of a square, which this thing basically is. So there are buildings around it, but they're all, you know, a decent distance away. I don't know exactly, 40, 50 feet, maybe a little more, separated by a path which goes around the warehouse.
If if I were Longo, I would have lookouts set up. If this is truly is my headquarters, we should probably be looking for them first, and at least secure a path to that area so we're not walking into a trap.
Suppose that we took a page out of Longo's playbook, and those of us who are more known and noticeable could hole up in. Is there a tavern near there, or some sort of public place? Basically, I'm wondering if we shouldn't cause some kind of distraction somewhere nearby, somewhere away from
Draw them out.
Not even
Draw
draw
them
him
out, whoever
draw
might be
some
watching.
attention to us, and then you could do what you're best at, besides cooking. and have a look around.
Yeah, we could see see not just who follows, but where they might go after some inactivity on your part. They could lead us to the hideout and the entrance.
Oh no, what I'm suggesting is that, you know, if you know roughly the area,
Mhm.
you can sort of stake it out while we create some kind of commotion elsewhere, and draw people. But I mean, you know,
That's
we'll see.
possible. But I worry that they might, if they see us, they may run back to the hideout and let Longo know, and send reinforcements, perhaps. So either could happen. They could stay and just watch what you do, or they might head back on orders to let Longo know if anything strange is up in the neighborhood. So we should be ready for both.
Okay.
So we could do just that. If they keep watching, I could go and scout the area. If they head back, I can follow and see where they go.
All right. What I'm suggesting is that we be close together, but that you not be part of our party.
Right. Okay.
Um,
It'll be it'll be dusk, so I'm just gonna make sure I have all kind of dark clothing. I'm ready for the night's activities. And you guys could be in more noticeable.
Silencers on all your remaining pans and pots.
Exactly.
Only a light clank as I walk.
So where are we right now on the map? Because it says we're at Rafe's home, but that's not where.
No, that's not. Yeah, you're up. You were up at the inn, which is.
20?
I'll move you over here. Nope. You're more like in this general vicinity over here. So
in
kind
Rafe's
of
home.
the east of the. Oh, yeah. Well, no, actually, you're right. I put you on. No, what the heck? Oh, because it took the home up there.
You grabbed it all.
I was like, what the
and
heck?
yeah.
I'm like, that's not his home. Like, what? Rafe's home is wherever you are. Okay. Yeah, there you are. So that's basically where the inn is. And then over here you have the battered mug, and then over here, by the way, Bolo, is where you encountered. Right over there is where you encountered the witch, essentially. And then down here is where allegedly the hideout could be found.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, right. What is 22? Is that just Broken Stone?
That's Broken Stone. Yes.
Okay. Cool. So is so Inga is the one who probably knows it best, right?
Probably yes. Although at this point, I would say that Bolo has a somewhat. I mean, you've only for a couple of days, but Bolo's seen some parts of it now, having been brought around, like the seedy underbelly. And I'm not sure Inga's never been part of the Broken Stone Irregulars, so definitely doesn't know those tunnels that Bolo would know, for example. So.
Is there a tavern or watering hole of some kind that we could ostentatiously stride into extremely out of our depth and noticeable?
The battered mug. I'm only half joking. Because the thing is, in this area of Brokenstone, there are a couple of little taverns, but not near this area. This is almost like, think of like a business park. You know what I mean? Like you go along these places, and there's one little like business area that has a bunch of small like light industry and it's just sort of off on its own, and isn't sort of connected to anything else. In fact, Amal, you'll know this. The place where they used to hold, is it Markham, where they used to hold Ad Astra, was a little bit like this, where it was like just sort of off on its own, sort of somewhere. That's kind of what I meant. Like that's sort of what this is like. So,
What you're suggesting is that Brokenstone has like some of the best soup dumplings in North America.
Yes, clearly I knew that and was
Okay,
bringing that forward right now for sure.
Awesome.
No, but yeah. So there are a couple of places, but as far as places that not really around that area. There's certainly nothing in the immediate radius of this. So, up when you get into here, maybe, but certainly not right around this area and the surrounding buildings.
So maybe, how far is the battered mug from the hideout?
It's probably 15 minutes walk, 10, 15 minutes, something like that.
Okay. So maybe that actually seems like, not exactly shouting distance, but it definitely seems like the right distance for if we wanted to draw attention to ourselves. What I'm imagining is the group kind of, this is me just talking, not River saying this, but I'm imagining the group like turning up at the broken mug and is it
But the battered mug.
battered mug, sorry, the battered mug in broken stone, and talking about plans to leave town and go look for Longo somewhere, or like to just plant false ideas about what we're doing, maybe pick a fight, that sort of thing, while Bolo goes to do his thing.
Well, I'm not opposed to that, but I wonder if you should come in from the south and literally wander through that area and give it a light look, and then head to the broken mug, just to sort of draw any lookouts that might be there.
Well, you
We
had
could
me
do
at
that.
Tavern Brawl, so
I mean, we could do that. We could, maybe like take a look from the other side of the canal, potentially.
Theoretically. Although, well, the other side of the canal is like down here, because to the
No.
east it's
No, I meant like over here.
Like straight east of it.
if it's going to be blocked by those buildings. These are buildings on the west side of the canal. So you could maybe from here, I don't know, I'd have to think about if you could get a line of sight, I guess. But
Is there a walkway or any, like right along the edge of the key or anything?
That's what I just drew.
oh yeah, well, like where Trent drew, that's yes for sure. For here, yeah, I mean, like you could see something, but not over the building. You could be from, like, basically you could get it from, I mean, from this side or from this side or even from here on this side. Like there's some narrow little alleys too, and those would all be possibilities. From the canal, you wouldn't be able to see over these buildings, which are taller. I guess maybe from the roof of this building you could see over to that. I guess maybe.
was about to
but yeah.
say, could just climb on top of one of those buildings.
That's true too. Yeah.
Which wouldn't be at all suspicious.
Yeah.
Inga could just claim she's doing construction work because she is a construction worker.
Yeah, I'm here doing
Well,
business.
If the idea is to alert Longo that we know that he's in that area, that's one thing. If we wanted to know that we know the exact building he's in, that's another. So it depends on the alert level that we're trying to
Well,
stir up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my thought is really that, like, so essentially what you're saying is that in order to make sure that Longo has eyes on us, we should go through that area.
Yeah,
think operating
yeah,
on
but
that
what I
level.
don't want him to do is I don't want us to scare him out. I also don't want him to go on high alert either, because that'll make getting in that much more difficult. But creating some sense of alarm might give us a small edge, because we can sort of look at what defenses he has arrayed. So my preference, but I'm willing to go with the group, would be to just walk through the area as like an initial look, to make it somewhat clear that you're scouting that neighborhood, but that we don't necessarily know, in theory, where he is. And that would be enough probably to draw out whoever might be there if they have lookouts.
I just don't know why it's necessary to alert him to the fact that we're, like, aware of the neighborhood even. Like, unless...
Well, the idea is, and it could be wrong, is that he probably has lookouts, because that's his safe house, right? And he'll have people watching for danger along those streets, and we want to see them before they see us. Is the idea before we go into the lookout specifically and look for the secret entrance or whatever. So that's the idea. So it could backfire too. I mean, we could put them on too much of an alert. You know, the other option would be to go and just try to find it and hope we're not seen, you know, in looking for it.
I'm basically proceeding on the assumption that like Longo has lookouts in more than just that area. That like Longo has spies and that he has like people who he might have set to watching our movements and stuff more generally.
But if our goal is to get into the hideout,
yeah,
we want to find the people that are near the hideout, so we know that we can safely get in. I mean, that's our goal, right? Is to get into the hideout and have a look-see.
Yes. I think it's just that like I don't know, my understanding of it is like in the opposite order. You if I'm understanding correctly, you want to draw lookouts away so that we can find a secret entrance. Is that
or even just have them identify themselves and where they position themselves so that we can forge a path in safely.
Whereas to me, like scouting out the place is like I mean I don't expect the lookouts to be difficult to find, I guess. Like I mean if it's not a populated area and it's like it's an abandoned warehouse situation, then presumably like the people there are not masters of stealth or anything, that they just need to be heavies.
Well, that may be true, but I'm concerned that Longo's sly, right? He's shown himself to be sly and may not be sloppy in this respect.
He is indeed sly.
We don't know.
He's indeed sly.
Say again, Greg?
He is indeed sly. Although maybe he's playing you off to make you think that this, but then the other. I appreciate the deep paranoia at the heart of this conversation.
Double
Can I just say? Yeah, exactly.
It is deep paranoia.
It's a riddle inside an enigma inside it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, either way, like I don't know. I don't want to get too hung up on like something that is ultimately like I can't quite tell if we're saying the same thing in two different ways or if there is like a fundamental difference that is better one way or another. I just like in my head one way or another, Bolo is going to be doing the scouting. Like we are going to be as like red herring-y as possible somewhere.
Right. And I don't see, and I agree, but I don't see creating a diversion very far away from that area as useful in either of those cases. I think we either, or maybe two of us, you know, go and do a scout without alerting anybody, or we try to draw out any lookouts nearby, not by the battered mug. It feels like it's too far and wouldn't be useful. That's my thought. I don't see what creating a diversion.
In my head, the diversion creating is because whatever we do is going to get back to Longo, is my thought. If it's weird for us, Heroes of Dale or whatever, to be in the battered mug, then that weirdness is something that will be like watched or reported or something. Likewise, if we get into a fight or if we just, you know, make a nuisance of ourselves, and the ourselves in this case is like Tawny, Inga, and the river, that might be. It's so distracting to look at Greg's face. Oh man, you just have this look of like absolute deviousness.
I'm just here. I'm just like
I am the Master Weaver.
Should I do?
Oh, Inga, you're.
It's only paranoia if they're not really out to get you. You know?
He has a resting deviousness face, as they say.
True.
Resting devious face. Yes.
I mean, it's almost dusk. I mean, the other option would be you would not be noticed once darkness falls. If we all just go to the immediate area and I do a little bit of scouting, right?
I'll be right back.
I mean, if the fear is you guys are too noticeable, which is true during daylight hours, we could just wait for a bit.
we're not all stealthy, is the thing.
No, I know, but you could at least come to the area. I could scout around and alert you if something strange is going on.
Regardless of the like levels, I am not exactly a tiny man.
Yeah.
Oh, true, but are there no other tall men in the entire city?
Probably not many as tall as me.
Yeah. I mean, we could handle that in different ways, right? Coming from different directions to break up, identifying 3 of you together. We could have a cart and a pony, bring us to the local area, and you could be in the bed.
I'll let you discuss this as well, because I just need to stand up for a second.
I think the main question is whether or not we try to create a diversion to draw out any lookouts, or if we go in quietly, with no diversion, and I try to scout. That seems like the 2 big options. There may be others.
And those 2 seem contingent upon levels of light.
No, that's true. That's true. If we want them to see you, we'd have to go just before dusk.
All I want ultimately is to falsify our trail. So, I mean, maybe the create a diversion thing is overkill. It is literally just a matter of wanting to give an impression of our movements that is other than what it actually is.
Well, that's easy.
Is it?
Yeah, I start out from the canal, and I recently heard that someone over at the Battered Mug has gotten incredibly sick by something that they've eaten.
Fair dues.
And they need a physic, so off I go.
All right. And I suppose all of us have been moving around the city rather erratically over the last couple of days. So this would be unlike.
There is one question I have, and I'd like to look, Greg.
Yeah.
So one of our general background fears is that that we're already being watched by Longo and his
That's
people.
the theory. Mm-hmm.
And so I would just like to do, like, we're still in the inn, I presume. So
Yes.
I'd like to sneak out somewhere and just have a look around the immediate area and look to see if somebody, seems to be watching our window in the inn, watching the door, checking the back door maybe.
Okay, are you going to do this by going, are you going to go outside of the inn to do that? Are you going to kind of look through the window? Or are you going to try to get on the roof?
I'll do the window first.
Because, okay.
Surreptitiously. And then if I know enough about the inn, I use maybe a little used exit.
Yeah.
Possibly even like a window in like
An unused
storeroom if I could,
right.
That sort of thing.
Well, I was going to say that there's at the end of the hall. So your room, like many inn designs are, you've got a hallway down the middle, and you've got rooms off of it on either side, right? So at the end of the hallway, actually on the second floor where your room is itself a window, a small one, which is not near any room in particular, but that window is often open. And you could certainly go through it. It's near to the roof anyway.
Okay.
Excuse me just a moment. Yes.
Go check my tea.
Yes, I would like to know if we are being watched. I would like someone else to make these checks that I have failed horribly. Or listen to, because obviously someone could have rented the room next to us or something and be listening in to our every move and stuff.
Inga actually has an ability specifically for stuff like that. So, well, I mean, it's more like for outdoors, but maybe it works here too.
But anyway, you could do that. Sorry. So yes, you could do that, Bolo, by going up to that roof area, and that is an option available to you. Probably wouldn't be that hard to clamber up, although you could fail it. But it's. So,
Should I stealthify first to just get out of the?
Wait. Why do you want to get on the roof?
I just made that suggestion to see it. You don't have to. Also,
I actually just want to get to the. I'll check the window first.
Okay. So have you make a perception check there first. Let's do that before we go any further.
my perception today. Can I do investigation?
No, perception. Okay.
Jesus.
Wow!
You look out. You're like, I can't see. Like
You stared directly into the sun.
Yeah, exactly. You stared
It's more
directly.
like, oh look, there's a squirrel.
You're actually looking at
Keep
the wall
staring at
right next to the window. You're like, why don't I don't. Yeah. Everything seems
Certainly
fine
need
out
to
there.
take Perception when I have another chance to.
That's the outside. Nothing. That's fine. It's just the outside. Nothing's out there.
Then I do I need to stealth out?
Yeah. So what you would want to do next, if you want to stealth out and up to the window, or stealth out and down into the, like, where are you stealthing?
I want to get outside the building from a little used exit, whether that's probably a window or something like that.
Right. So that's going to be the thing about that is it's going to be harder to
not
do
our
because the stairs from the second floor go into the common room. So
Okay.
I mean, you can try to stealth down there, but it's going to be hard because it like literally goes into the common room. You're going to be seen by somebody, I guess, is the point.
Is there
Unless you go out of the window in your own room, which is certainly possible.
I mean, I'll bring some rope and try to go to the roof and go like down a wall.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could try to do that.
Wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a door on it.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Okay.
Yep, you could definitely do that. You will need to make a check getting, the stealth is fine, so you make it down very quietly and out into the window. I do need you to make either a dexterity or an acrobatics check to get up on the roof.
Okay. Acrobatics?
Would be fine. Or dexterity, but if you have acrobatics, great. Yeah, that's more than enough. So you're able to kind of pull in and just, clamber up quietly onto the roof. And then you make your way over to get down a side wall, basically, right? If I understand that correctly, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I won't make you roll for that. You're able to. Now, one thing I do have to ask you though about is the nature of the rope. If you're gonna, because you can tie it to something like basically the chimney up there, and then, run the rope down and then over the wall. But you're gonna have to leave it there, which could theoretically take notice. You're gonna have to leave the rope hanging there unless you want to cut it or something. So I'm just letting you know.
Well, how handholdy is the side of the building that I'm looking down?
The problem is there's a bit of an overhang. But it's not a very high roof, so you probably with another check could get back over to the wall.
I'm not going to chance it because if somebody's watching, they would see me coming down. So rope being there for a little while is not going to be a big deal. So
Okay.
I'll just use the rope and come.
Okay, then I think
I'm just going to scout the immediate area and just look for suspicious activity.
All right, let me have you make for this one. I'll have you make an investigation check for this. Okay, so
16.
16. So as you're looking around the outside, what I would say is you don't see anything specific, but you are almost certain that you hear the noise of what sounds like footsteps. And there are multiple times where you do this thing, and then the footsteps are like not behind you. The whatever was making the footsteps is not behind you. And at first you think it might just be an echo, but then as time goes on, you're pretty convinced, no, this thing is coming from an actual, individual, like something or someone is making this noise. And so you don't see, but you definitely hear that someone is probably watching your movements.
Did I hear that immediately after getting down and starting to walk around? Okay.
No, it was
Right,
probably about 5 minutes
I don't want them to know that I used the rope because that would alert them.
Right, yeah. No, you didn't start hearing this until you were starting to make your, kind of pass around the outside of the building.
Right. So I will head back in, and just I'll do it slowly and casually so as not, to make them think that I think nothing, that I found nothing. And I'll head back upstairs and report that to the group.
Yeah, through the front door you're going back in, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay. And, Bolo went up to the roof and then let down off the side of the building, River, and then started walking around, and it was a couple of minutes later that he began to hear these footsteps that I referred to.
I will collect my rope from the roof as well.
Okay.
so it's not left there. But yeah, then I'll report to the group. Yeah, we're being followed already.
Suspected as much. So, in that
It's
case,
not the guy from the city watch, though, right? Because what's his face?
Cardis, the captain.
Yeah, Cardis said he was gonna send one of his guys after us, right?
Well, he offered to, but I think we declined.
I
yeah,
don't remember.
Right, and
I don't think that they would need to keep secret either.
And and he admitted that his people would not be terribly good at
right.
stealth
I was gonna say.
and following us. So I think it's Longo's people.
That makes sense. So we know we're already being surveilled.
Yeah. Well, so now the question is, maybe the battered mug is the right way to go, to have the three of you go there, and I can watch and see who follows, and either follow them and we can do something about that, or I can go to the hideout and try to find what I find.
You actually, unlike the rest of us, have a reason for being at the battered mug. Right?
True.
Should we all convene there?
Anybody else stealthy and or good at
Yeah.
perception?
I can be stealthy
Yeah. Like, what is
and
my
perceptive.
Yeah, and I've already just done a look about, so maybe the rest of us go to the battered mug, and you can hold back and try to tail our tail.
I think that so my thought is that Tawny and River should probably make a pair, and potentially. Oh wait, because you don't have perception for.
My perception's bad, but stealth is high and investigation.
But Inga's is good. Right?
Yeah.
So, I think potentially it could make sense for us
It's
to all.
okay. It's not great. It's okay. I am proficient.
So I think that it might make sense to make two parties to both be heading towards the broken mug, battered mug, and then I'm sorry, this is getting too convoluted in my own
It's
head.
okay. It used to be the battered and deep fried mug, but they thought that didn't sound healthy enough, and so they just shortened it to.
It's mostly just that I'm like, okay, we know we're being followed, so we know that when we leave, we're going to be followed. Presumably it's not just one tail. Like presumably, like we have been going all around. So, but if most of us leave, or if like a significant portion of us leave, and draw off maybe someone to follow us, then you guys can either go by a different route. If we end up at the same place, then we can do some theater there, and while that's happening, potentially Bolo could slip away from there and go towards scouting out the hideout. Is that too convoluted? I can't even tell you. I super can't. I'm so tired and the coffee's not working. It's broken.
Well, I think
Broken stone coffee?
Battered coffee.
In a battered mug, perhaps, Branding.
our end goal is to at least scout that the hideout, right? And
We want to
see-
find a secret entrance. That's like our goal, is to find secret entrance to hideout, so that we don't have to fight our way into the hideout, and so that we don't spook them into, say, destroying all the material that we might actually need and stuff.
Yeah. So I think I think sending you two ahead is a good first part of the plan, and see who tails after, and after you get to the mug, they may go back and report to Longo, or they may stay. We may have to play it by ear a little bit.
Okay.
But then eventually I could head over and at least scout that area and see if we can find the entrance.
Suppose that Tawny and River are going to investigate a health complaint, a health safety. Like we've been sent by the city guard to look after the.
How's your liquor license? You up to date on this?
Yeah, literally, exactly.
So, just to recap, the point is that Bolo and Inge sneak to the battered mug, right?
Yeah, we give them some time. We wait for the tail to follow them, and we try to find the tail.
Okay.
And then we can make a decision from there on what we want to do.
I see. Good.
The thing is, like, I guess the thing to think about is, I don't know what it gains us to like recognize the tail necessarily, because they probably won't be the same as the people looking out at the hideout and stuff, right? So.
Well, at the very least, we want to make sure they don't follow us.
Right.
And are alerted to the fact that we're going to the hideout.
That's true. That's true. So I guess if you can spot the tail and stuff, then you can also just hightail.
Just head there.
To the hideout and do your scouting there.
Yeah, that's true.
Makes sense.
All you really need to create is an empty space where you can effectively slip into the shadows, where there's not somebody constantly eyeing you. You just get out of line of sight for long enough to successfully hide. You'll have a much easier time getting to the hideout.
Yeah, we could actually create two waves. You two could go first, Inga could go next, and I could just watch and look. And if I see nobody, I just catch up to Inga and we go there together.
Right.
Nah, we should stay together.
You should stay together. The reason I was saying stay together is because of your perception, and that like it might be good to have a combination.
Mine's not
because
bad.
you were just staring at a wall thinking it's a window, Bolo, and
I'm just saying
if Trump Lloyd painting. All right.
If you two go and we don't see the tail follow you, that means that we missed them or that they're still there. So I just want to be sure we don't miss slipping them, properly, kind of thing.
So
2 by 2 hands of blue.
okay, let's go then, I guess.
Okay, so I believe I was parsing what everyone was suggesting. So I think what we're doing, what you suggested that you're going to do, is you're going to have Tawny and the River are going to go first. You are going to go to the battered mug for this, in quotes, health inspection or whatever you decide when you get there. In the meantime, Bolo and Inga are going to watch and see if they can see the tail that is following them, right? And then will, at a certain point, head themselves to the hideout, or will follow the tail. Like, what are you going to do if you see this tail?
I think you should go to the hideout.
Yeah, I think we're using that pause in them watching us to go to that area.
Okay.
In fact, a thing that we can do potentially, if this helps, is we can, like Tawny and River can deliberately make sure that they walk past like the window, to allow you to see if someone is following them that way potentially. I don't know if that works, but
Sure.
If you're going to do that, that would mean, though, that Inga and Bolo would have to get out front and get somewhere that, pre-arranged, where you would then walk past. So you need to have them out and stealthing, so to speak, first before you walk past the way where they're set, right?
Oh, I was thinking like just walking past the window of our room.
Our window's on like the 3rd floor.
Second.
Second floor? Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so that's...
Three
I
minutes.
always forget, like in like overseas, it's like you start counting at 1, right? Not at 0.
Right, start counting at 1.
Yeah, okay.
But,
Okay.
Yeah. So like
So
just the
first floor by German standards, okay.
my thought is only to like try and make it that much easier, since there is that pause to see if there is someone following us before you actually exit the building. But I don't know if that will work or not.
Right, I thought we were saying. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you were going to head off to do this. So let me just, on the map, I'm going to group
I'm having like
these
such
tokens this way.
flashbacks
like that.
to the Docks District in Baldur's Gate 2 right now, where you have to like do all those quests in and around the Thieves Guild there.
So maybe Inga could watch from the window and I could hop up to the roof and just get another viewpoint.
Okay. Sure. I'm going to have... okay, so Tani and the River are doing that. I'm going to ask you, are you going to stealth down to the window or just as well Bolo again, like you did the first time?
Well, no, I'm only going to go to the roof and watch them leave.
Right, but you still... The last time you were sort of stealthing to and then through the window and up on the roof. I counted that as a stealth thing. So I'm wondering if you're still doing that.
Yeah, I guess same path I took last time.
Okay. Let me have you do that first. So let me have you stealth first and then do an acrobatics check. Okay, 19 and the stealth is completely fine. Very quietly do it. And then the acrobatics. 17. Yeah, that's no problem. So you're able to get up onto the roof. Then I'm going to have Inga, please, as the River and Tani pass by the window, sauntering along, loudly saying, "I can't wait till we get to the battered mug for our health inspection." No, I'm just kidding.
Not what he's saying, but okay.
I'm just joking. But Inga, I'm going to have you make a perception check, please, as you are watching out of the window. And I'm going to have Bolo do something similar. 19. Okay, good. And Bolo, I will have you...
Jesus!
I just happened to pick the wrong side of the building, that's all.
You're like, if I look at the roof, I can see. Okay.
You know, people,
an ant.
My husband included, have just like always confused left and right. Like there's just a sort of like a brain switch flip.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining that Bolo has that with like what you're supposed to look at. Oh yes, I'm gonna look at that thing. There. And just like
where is it? Yeah.
No, left is where the thumb is on the right side. So
Bolo,
then you do this.
Three of the four pieces you need to be sneaky in.
Yeah. I have this image of you like I have this image of you really like looking carefully at the rope. Like, does anyone come up this rope? Did I? You know, like, right? And like while you're doing that, then you look back.
Woven a little bit better. I wonder?
Yeah, like I mean, maybe, but the quality of ropes these days. While you're doing that, Inga, you do, however, look. Now we're talking about it's probably about 5:30, I would say, by this point in the early evening. And as they are making their way, it's still late summer, so it's still plenty light enough. And there have been a number of people still sort of moving around, as is usually the case, but it's definitely the number of people have died down. And you do notice one sort of cloaked figure that is making its way slowly, because where they pass outside the window, it's a decently long street before they vanish out of sight. So as Tani and the River are going down, you can see this cloaked figure is keeping a respectful distance, but is definitely clearly like moving around people and stuff, moving around carts and things in the street and so forth to stay within some relative distance of Tani and the River. So you see only one cloaked figure down there doing that.
Yeah, I would like to kind of blend back into the background or something, or like stand behind the lamppost, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm small. That should work.
Well,
right?
you're in your room still, looking out the window.
Oh,
so
that's right. I'm in my room.
You could join the person who's been standing under the lamp since the beginning.
He crashes through the window and jumps down to the street.
They're after you, Tani and the River.
Swiftly make my way down to the street.
Okay.
And see if I can stealthily follow that guy.
Bolo, I'd like you to make one more perception check for me, please.
I'm there for like 3 straight hours.
Like, someday something will happen.
Hey!
So this is great. I love it.
Noticed my crewmate.
I love it. Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. You notice that Inga is following someone, and you're like, wait a minute.
Am I the imposter?
So you 100% see Inga following someone. You don't see the someone, but you see
You
Inga
work for Longo.
Just to be clear.
Oh my god, I gotta tell them.
Your perception is -1?
Yes.
Hey Inga, you need to let Inga know that you're responsible for being like...
I'm assuming he
totally
has...
sus.
Yeah, exactly.
Honey,
Where are you? Why are you in reactor? Why are you in reactor? Oh man.
Oh god, Arf. Need to do a session of Among Us with like people's...
I struggle so hard with lying to people on purpose. I'm telling you, I hate it. I don't like it. I only like werewolf when I get to narrate. I hate doing it myself. Hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Played Among Us yet. I have played many of similar sorts of games, but not in a way where you have to do other tasks and things. And
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of fun to watch. I just am like, because it always people just end up being really angry at each other. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to lie to my friends. But
Aw.
anyway, all right.
Do it
So
anyway.
yeah, do it anyway. Okay, so regardless, Bolo, you do all joking aside, you do see that Inga is moving with
managed
purpose.
somehow to piece together that she's following somebody. she's
Yes,
following.
exactly. There's like a blank spot in your vision where the other one is, but you can see her like following. No, you could definitely see that Inga is following someone with purpose
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, I collect my rope.
Okay.
I assume I can't stand Gamzir if I slip down the rope and just pull on it and it comes down automatically.
No, I mean you could try, but you'd think it unlikely. This is not
This
elven
isn't
rope,
Elven rope.
right?
Yeah. Anyway, I collect it and head down and catch up to her.
Okay. I would
Maybe
say
it's
let
a
me
fly.
place your positions on those things. Sorry, say again.
I was like, maybe it's a fly hook. You don't know.
That's true. Yes, that's a good point. See, trend making all the right references to something you'll know more about February if all goes well.
That's like
It's
in
certain-
5 years.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true. That'll be on the 400th day of March. Like I don't know. Okay, so you were like this, and I should have asked before, River. I just assume that's wherever you go, Stone goes. I'm guessing that Stone is with you as you're walking
Oh,
along.
absolutely.
Okay. So Bolo, the currently not yet fully colored in Bolo, is running right towards running right
Quick
towards.
question.
Twist.
Needle, needle.
Twist.
Can Tawny and River also make perception checks? So like, can we tell that we're being tailed?
You could try to do that if you wish, although I think if you try to make it clear that you're being tailed, you will notify the person that I mean, you're likely to let them know that you're seeing if you're being tailed. Do you follow what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't know whether you now maybe you don't care. Maybe you want them to know that that's what's happening.
I
But-
tell the gang over the intercom.
Mhm.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I radio them about about the tail.
What?
I
What
let
do you mean?
fly an enchanted bird from my cloak.
I was gonna say Tawny just grabs a moth. I'm like, what?
I actually have this image of Stone just running back and forth, not at all suspiciously between the two groups, like, "Woof, woof, 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 woof. What's that, Lassie? They're in a well?" You know.
It's not where they're supposed to be.
So,
What? Bolo fell down a well?
so you can do that if you wish, River. Just be aware that it is potentially does have the possibility to raise it. You were assuming that you were being tailed anyway, but you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. I would say probably that when you get to the bridge here, which crosses over towards where the battered mug would be, this I think is where, because now that once you catch up with Inga Bolo, Inga points out like it's that person there, and you're like, oh, but of course, yes, I knew from the very beginning that was the person you were trailing, because of course. But I'm guessing that it's somewhere around that point when they're about to cross the bridge that you then have a decision to make. They could theoretically cross over and just keep going towards where the battered mug is, where you've told them it is. And you could cross over following the man following them, or the person following them, and then go south like this. So you could go like that if you wanted to go down to where the thing actually is. Or you could go here, basically break off at that point, sort of satisfied that the tail is indeed like following them, which is what you were hoping for. Or, last but certainly not least, you could also go like this and just break off a lot further, from them. Or none of the above. You could do something. You could jump in the canal and swim for all I care. But I'm just letting you know that those are the options. Yeah, these canals are not quite Venetian bad, but yeah. I was gonna say.
So
Just
dolphins
like
are
imagining the
returning.
canals of like Amsterdam or Hamburg, and I'm like, ugh.
Oh yeah, well, or
No,
Venice,
yeah.
where like literally you can suffer like permanent vision damage because the canals are so dirty. Although actually they've gotten much cleaner since the pandemic, much cleaner.
Surprise,
So,
surprise.
yes.
But dolphins in the canal thing was not.
Well, that was not true. Yeah. It was not true, but it is true that they are cleaner than they were.
Yeah.
I think we should break off sooner. And yeah. I know you said it's like 5:30, but I actually maybe it's too late to do this now. But it would have been nice to have some. Although we can see lookouts better, so maybe it is better just to be able to go and
during
and
the
look for
daytime.
people who are
Mm-hmm.
covering that area.
Yeah, because you'll probably arrive at these places by about 6 would be your guess. Battered
Yeah.
Mug and the
Yeah.
theoretical
Still got
hideout. So
a few hours to nightfall at that point, but I
Yeah.
guess we can delay at that point. So yeah, I think we should, while we know that the tail is taking their time, heading to the Battered Mug, we could go and just scout the area.
okay, so it looks like we're going. Are you going this side of the river or the canal or that side of the canal?
The near side.
The near side. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So let me talk about the river and Tawny and Stone as they make their way. Unless Tawny's doing something else.
Yeah.
Okay, go back to where you are. I'm only doing that to show where the paths were. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Trolsy.
So as they're getting towards the bridge, Tawny's been kind of grumbling the whole walk towards the thing. And
His regular demeanor.
basically, but well,
So
especially over
Tawny.
the last couple of days. Yeah, especially over the last couple of days. But as they get closer to the bridge, he starts enunciating more clearly and being a little bit more animated, but not overtly so. And he's like, he keeps turning around to the river every now and again. And finally, when we get to the bridge, he's finally like, I don't care. I don't care how long or short he's been with us. I don't like the guy. All right, he doesn't pay attention when we try to teach him how to operate in any sort of situation. He may be a good cook. You know who else is? Me. We don't need him. He's not a member of our party. I don't care what anybody else says. And he turns and starts.
I want a
walking.
perception check. Can I hear that?
You can. Well,
I think-
he'd have to be enunciating it really. He's. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead. Make a perception check. Why not?
I'm mostly joking.
It would be really, really funny if it turned out that this would be the one that you again crit, and you're just like,
Oh
you
my
hear it clearly as if he was saying
No,
to him,
he
"I don't
hates
care what
me."
he says." You know.
No, I don't hear it.
Yep.
Bolo starts crying on the way to the hideout.
Oh,
My
Somewhere.
friends.
I thought I made friends.
sad.
River's affect in response to this is somewhere between long suffering and bored, and says, look, you've said this before, I've heard you before, but it's nice, it's nice to have someone who understands how bacon ought to be cooked. I'm just saying, it's like the rest of you are so anyway. And that sort of thing of just playing like a back and forth, but
So okay, all makes sense to me. I see what you're all doing there. So you both Tawny and you can cross over the bridge if you like. As you
Stops,
continue
turns
on your
back again and continues. He's like, it's not all about bacon. I mean, I do recognize the critical importance of bacon and occasionally being properly cooked. But I mean, Stone loves bacon no matter how it's cooked. So I'm just saying it's not as important as you. Where the hell is this place? And he just turns looking, and he turns south. And
Okay.
starts heading this way.
Okay.
oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Oh, and we should say like no, it's this way. Wait, are we, just to make sure that I know what we're doing. Everyone's gonna be like, no, it's over this way. Is that the general idea? Because we are going to end up at the Battered Mug.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, cool. Good thing you're here.
Tawny knows where to go. He's just not going that way yet.
Yeah, I'm just cue me up. Is this like a cue for River to demonstrate that, or for?
Play it like she would.
Oh, God damn it.
You're welcome.
A little bit so I can see. Sorry.
So he starts turning south, and
Sorry.
okay. Anyway, so River goes, it's not that way. It's this way.
He distinctly said, turn left once you cross the bridge.
You're turning right.
No, I turned left. Of course, he was facing back across the bridge.
Right. Yeah. Tawny, oh my God, I know you've been working hard, but stay with me, buddy. Stay with me here. Let's go.
Quick note. I'm sorry. Let me pause you for a second. Inga and Bolo, since you're still tailing to this point, you can see that the figure stops as there is some conversation that you can't quite make out, but there's a conversation that's being had between the river and Tani as we speak, as they speak to each other.
Can
Yeah, we
break-
keep our distance,
Yeah.
right?
Can we break sooner? Like, are we back in that previous intersection?
Yeah, well, I was assuming, like, where they are right now is where I assume everybody is. Like, you may be here-ish, but the point is
Right.
Let me move Stone up a little bit. The cloaked
My-
figure is maybe
My point is we should
hereabouts.
let them delay whatever they're going to do and just break away now, head straight south.
Okay. I wanted to know. So you're not going to keep watching the tail at this point. You're
No.
breaking off now. Okay.
Okay. We're not going to gain anything by doing that.
Fair enough. So then go ahead and position yourself where you want to be headed, like down the path that you want to be headed for both of you. And then I'll come back to Tani and the river in just a second.
So, head down along this way.
Right, but like,
Not this way?
But this way?
Or sorry.
Not this way.
Yeah, down this little side street, because I assume we're right about there.
Yep, that's right. Yep. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Can you also make our tokens a bit smaller? Please?
Sure. Just kidding. Okay. Let's make like that. And I zoom back out, everyone will be like, I can't see myself, but
That's a problem for future Arv.
yeah, exactly. Who's always one step ahead of past Arv, let me tell you. Past Arv is always one step ahead of future. Okay, got it.
When Tawny starts to like raise his voice about something, River is going to be like shh, in a kind of like, he could be being watched way.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
just kind of say, and not quite stage whisper, but just like shush him down, gesture towards where the battered mug actually is, and then just start like walking in that direction. The show.
And he's like, I'm just saying that it's entirely. He's not as good a cook as you think. It would not surprise me one bit to find that this new miraculous chef may actually be responsible for what this just. Oh.
I know, and that's one possibility that we're examining, but I'm just saying that if you had a little bit less emotional investment in your own abilities as a cook, you might be finding this less upsetting.
How
You
many
are
of you?
much more than your ability to cook, Tony. We appreciate you and respect you for much more than your capacity for applying heat, salt, acid, and fat to the cellar in
Nice reference.
combinations. Yes.
All right. All right. You and I are going to make a bet right now. My cooking has never put any of you into hospital, ever. If it turns out that whoever we're going to see is a result of his cooking, he never comes with us again. He's out.
Is that a bet? I mean, I know you feel very strongly about this. We still need to talk to Inga about it. But I respect your feelings, and I hear them. They are valid and real. And it's good that you're feeling them.
Oh, ride the wave of the feeling.
Uh-huh.
I love you guys so much.
But we need to be professional as we approach this place. So if we
Oh,
could...
I'm being professional because clearly I'm being patronized. And so he turns and starts walking
towards the battered mug.
right towards the
Very
bed.
Great. River just kind of like rubs her forehead a little bit, pats Stone on the head, and follows.
Who is probably like,
Stone is absolutely like Stone is no. Okay, well you could that was hilarious. While you're on your way there, let's jump back to Bolo and Inga, who are making their way downtown. Okay. And just to be clear on the path, are you?
So?
I was just gonna say, yeah. So you're doing that?
Or like, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that one just to avoid any possibility of running across that tail again.
Okay.
Oh, then maybe instead like so. Or
Yeah.
like so.
Someone's having fun with the arrows. Someone's
Yeah, I learned this like the other week that that is a thing one can do. If my mouse would cooperate, Jesus, yeah, like so, I guess, right?
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Why not?
So
26 feet. That's fine.
so you make your way. Yeah, exactly, for 25 feet.
There,
So you make your way around all the way down here. As you're doing so, kind of making your way in, tell me at what point are you, obviously you're kind of keeping general track of your surroundings, but at one point are you actively trying to look for, you know, things in the area, you know, like guards, lookouts, whatever, like.
I guess Bolo would be leading the way, so Inge would just like follow him and like instead keep an eye out on everything else.
Okay.
Does it work? Is that an option?
How do you make like a ping type thing?
You hold down with just left mouse button while you have the arrow. Yep, there you go.
Pew! No, that was me. Pew!
Ah, there we go. Okay.
It's like a bad game of Missile Command.
Well, so
Bomb on B4.
Yep.
okay, so I would say once we cross the. Oops, I gotta switch back to this one. Once we cross here, we'll start being a little bit more aware. I would think we wouldn't start, maybe like in this area,
Okay.
and then kind of head a little bit deeper. Maybe not take the main thoroughfare.
Okay.
Just kind of head along around there.
Okay. Now I need both of you to make. I need both of you to make perception and investigation checks for me, please. But you get both. See, you get both. Okay.
There you
21
go.
perception, 15, 6%. I like Polo is like literally at the back, like staring into Inga's back, just like what.
How do we check if we have inspiration?
Why do you keep walking in front of me?
You have one, Amal, and it's yeah, you do have one.
That doesn't answer her question.
like-
but
Oh
she-
well, exclamation point inspiration space dash have, and it will tell you if you have one or not.
It's just like, it's not even just like that he has like shit bonuses for perception. No, he also rolls like shit. Like, it's like, even if he had some good bonuses on that, it would still be a shit roll.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very true. Now the good news is the investigation part. So
When
do you?
you guys are feeling difficult rolls, I'm just gonna say I have inspiration. I'm happy to use it.
That's true. Although this one, the option was between a 0 or a 6, so it wasn't. There weren't a lot of good choices.
But I will just say, because the next game will not be in November, I really would like to use up my November inspiration.
Oh yeah,
We
that's
all
a
have-
good point.
We all have one?
No,
No, just
From
amount.
supporting the Patreon.
I have
Okay.
Amal is a wonderful person who's supporting my Patreon. Yes.
So I would, yeah, we may want to save it just because I suspect we're going to need one to actually find that secret entrance. We may want to save it for that.
Yeah.
So as you're going along, when you get to right about here, actually, if the two of you could move your tokens down here, that would be lovely. There are
Where, down here?
right here.
Yeah.
So when you're becoming more like carefully looking, and then I think you said you were going to go into here next. But so the thing I want to note is two things. First of all, in perception, Trent has inspired Bolo. Bolo is now inspired. So the first thing that I want to note is that when you make the perception, which is the thing first, Bolo, you're just like, carefully like checking out like little tracks in the sand or whatever, not whatever the case may be in the dirt below. But Inga, you notice that for the first time, you think you hear the sound of footsteps. Now
On a road. How
yes,
peculiar.
the footsteps, that's true, but not your own. you think you hear them because you're coming into an area where there's not a lot of foot traffic down here, because this again is coming into a place where there's a lot of warehouses and stuff like that. So you notice that there are footsteps echoing behind you. You have no idea where they're coming from, though, because when you look back there, you don't see anything. And I imagine that Bolo would have told Inga that this is what Bolo had heard when he was doing the perimeter search, basically the scan of the area around the inn. So you hear these things again. You are positive, in case anyone gets too paranoid, that the tail was following the others. So unless they waited until you left and then broke off and headed down, you're pretty confident this is not going to be the same person. But so you hear that, Inga. Bolo, you not. But what both Bolo and Inga note, although in particular, no, I'm not sure Inga would know this with that roll, but with Bolo will. So you perceive that there's someone possibly following you, Inga. But Bolo, what you notice is that these places here that you're passing, these ones right here and here and here, these are all larger, what look like, again, like warehouses. But you notice that almost all of them are boarded up and sort of closed off. You know that it's been kind of a difficult time, and that more of the work that is sort of on the trading side is being done down here at the moment. This is still Southern Brokenstone, and so it's still broken and needs some work. So most of it's abandoned and kind of, boarded up, but not all of it. As you're about to take a turn to go down one alley, you notice that right here on this building, there is what looks like a window that has not been boarded over, but as you're looking more closely, it actually looks to you a little bit too regular, that the board itself doesn't look just that it's slipped or that it's been torn off, but that it's possibly even hinged. It looks strange to you. Now, you would need to walk up and check it more closely, but it definitely does not look like any of the other boarded windows. The wood even that's being used is newer on it. So, through this window. And again, that's here.
First Inga would lean over to Bolo and whisper to him that she thinks they're being followed and that he should go hide. And she will keep walking.
Okay, then actually, if she says that right before you see this thing, then that might work. But in any case, yeah, so.
All right. So, speaking low, I asked, should you break away before we get too close to the hideout? As if we don't know where Longo is specifically.
I will take the next bridge right.
Okay.
In case, before that we don't notice the person who might be following us.
Okay.
We said we have this conversation very, very quietly,
Oh,
and
yeah,
while
of
we
course.
keep walking.
Of course, yeah.
Just
So,
Of course.
Right at this corner
Mhm.
of this building here, I'm just gonna kind of be skirting it, and I'll use, I forget the name of the ability that I have to sort of just sneak off.
Yes.
My character. Art of Disappearing.
Yep.
And I think I've written down here. I don't think I need a roll. No roll is needed.
Nope.
Unseen in the eyes of interlopers. All wisdom, perception, ability checks to find you will automatically fail. So I'm just going to take a left around that corner,
Okay.
and hide myself, behind a barrel or a old crate, or whatever,
Yep.
something like that.
There is a barrel there. And
Are
Inga,
there apples in it?
and exactly, and it could eat anything, but not an apple. Are you passing by that, Inga? So Bolo does that, and you're keep walking past it along along the canal there.
Wait, walking past what?
So in other words,
Where I break away.
would you keep
You
going
were gonna
like
continue
this?
to the
No, I would go right.
next bridge.
Down.
Take a right on that bridge.
Ah, okay. So you'd be going down, right down here this way. Yeah.
And
Okay.
keep
Yep.
very close attention to those footprints I heard earlier.
Okay. So go ahead and move your token down here. And when you get down here, I want you to make another perception check for me, please. And then I'll deal with Bolo.
Perception. Oof.
You don't hear the sound of echoing footsteps at the moment.
I guess I just keep walking straight.
Straight south or straight straight down this way?
South.
Straight. Okay.
I'm just going to give Inga my inspiration for her.
I'll let you do this ex post facto, since this is going to be the last of the month for that anyway. So I'll let you do that. So that means it'll be a 17 instead for this,
cool.
Inga. And so
Thank
you
you.
do actually hear, yeah, there are some steps that are echoing as you go along. So
Okay, so
good stuff.
as soon as I pass these houses over here, like these here,
Yep, yep.
I wanna slip off to the east
Okay.
part and like hide against the building. Basically, like there's probably like some doorway I can stand in or something like that, right?
Yes, you are trying to hide literally, like, to avoid completely avoid.
Yes, like
okay.
because of the footsteps. Like I'm assuming like that the person was behind me.
Make a stealth check for me, please.
So they would, and like I keep an eye on that
Yep.
crossroad.
Yep.
By giving him my other inspiration, since it's
I don't need it.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, so you're able to do that, and I would say probably a few seconds later, the footsteps get louder, and then you see a couple of people. One in particular, one you think is just sort of like maybe like lives in the area, but the other one, who is also cloaked but shorter than the person that you were tailing back there, turns south along here and is walking down this way slowly, and you can see the cloak is like looking up, the hood is looking up like this, as if looking at the side of the buildings as they pass.
Tackle them!
No, because then he would know that I know that he's there. No, I wait until he has gotten far enough away, and
Then you double back?
And then I double back. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So Bolo, in the meantime, you hid there near this spot. What have you been doing since then?
I'm
as it happens?
looking for a way into this building that is not that window that looks strange.
Okay. Make an investigation check for me, please.
Okay.
Remember that you have advantage.
Yes.
Well, inspiration. I should say.
Remember who you are.
So you were using inspiration for that, I assume? It was right, Brad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that hence the 20 as opposed to the 8. So as you're going around this building, and you do a full circuit around the building, not only do you not find an opening, you're pretty confident that it has been deliberately, because the buildings that you've passed, the warehouses are boarded up, but they're all boarded up as in the, okay, we don't want things getting in here kind of, and we're sort of, we're done with this building and that's it. This looks to have been sealed up, like intentionally trying to keep everything except that one opening available. And you also don't know that most people would have seen that opening. It's not super easy to see. But as you're going back around and, going past it, you can see that indeed it is hinged. It's closed, but it is indeed hinged.
Is there a...
And it's on the ground floor. Decent size, by the way.
Okay. Is there like a cellar door?
Not that you see. Nope.
Does the roof look flat?
They're not going to have basements there anyway.
Yeah, the roof does look like it probably is flat, yes.
And how many stories is the building?
These buildings are about 2 stories high. There's a couple that are 3. This is about 2 stories high.
All right. And okay.
And at this point, I would say Inga's back. So
Yeah.
You circled back around.
yep, waited till they lost the tail.
I got it. Okay.
And then
So we can either try to find a way in. This building is a bit odd, and I kind of tell her what I found as I went around the perimeter. There's something odd. I think we better check this out.
Yeah, you go investigate that. I'll keep the lookout in case.
Okay.
any more tails show up.
Do I have like a grappling hook, that I could use to get to the top of the building?
Oh, you want to go to the you want to go all the way to the top of the building?
That's what I'm debating on.
Oh, I see.
I'm not sure if I have the equipment to even do that.
I don't know if you have a grappling hook. I mean, you obviously have a rope. I don't know that you have a grappling hook though, because I
wouldn't
think
even
you
have
would
my
use it.
pack with me at this point.
Right,
Probably have a
exactly. Yeah.
serving fork, though.
Yeah.
The serving
I'm
fork just
gonna
bends
try to
behind.
Serving fork.
I'm going to try to stealth up to that window.
Go ahead and do it.
And investigate it.
This is the totally sealed off window.
No, the
one-
whole building is sealed. This is the only one that doesn't look it's hinged
Oh,
somehow.
The hinged
So,
one. Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, completely silently, just like a whisper of wind, smoke on the wind, I believe is the term. Coming up to the
and
window.
I'm just gonna see if if there's a crack I can peer into, and if not, if I can pull it out slightly and look inside.
There's not a crack that you could look into, but it does look like there's something you could wedge something into and try to pull it out a little bit.
All right, I'll do so slowly, carefully, making sure not to make noise.
Dexterity check for me, please.
Okay.
Not a
Nice.
that's not a save. It's a check, but I will
how do I
permit
see
it in
that?
this case. It's okay. I
Click
will
the
permit.
word dexterity above your attribute.
Yeah. Ah,
Like I said.
see, there you
nice.
go. Exactly. There it works. Perfect. So yes, you kind of put like a little, maybe like a file or something like that in between, and then you kind of run and you hear this thing that kind of metal, and you push up and it opens, and inside you can see that there is this place looks quite open, in fact, in the inside. Except that there is on the inside this window, there are a set of barrels that are surrounding what looks like a grate in the floor.
And anybody present? Do I see any people?
No, you do not.
I'm slipping up into the room.
And there's light, by the way, that's shining through different little cracks and stuff like that, so you can kind of dimly see, but it's sort of dark in here.
All right, I'm gonna head in.
All right. When you get in and get over to the barrels, you can see that the grate itself is a metal grate, and you can see that the grate, quite obviously, there are footprints. It's kind of a dusty floor here around, coming to and from the grate.
I'm gonna give the grate itself like a check and I'm gonna smell, see if I find any substances there.
Make an investigation check, please.
Not great.
It's not, you do not smell anything of it. There's no substances that you can tell. In fact, the one thing that surprises you a bit, Bolo, is that it doesn't really smell like very much. I mean, you're near an area here, you're right near the canals. You would expect to smell something musty or, moldy or something, but actually you don't smell any of that. It just smells like a typical, sandy something or other down below. And as you're looking on that grate, which is, I should say, is like, you can see through it. It's a literally lattice work. And so looking through the grate, you can see that there is what looks like a ladder that descends down into darkness.
I'm going to check out these barrels.
Okay.
Do they feel full? Are they capped?
They are capped, and
closed?
they do feel full. They are capped, closed, and they feel full, although you don't know of what.
Is there like a stopper or spigot on any of them?
No, there's no cork or any kind of stopper.
All right, I think I need to know what's in them before I go any further. So I'm gonna, without breaking the top, I do want to just pry open maybe two staves top and just see if I can smell inside and then maybe dip something in and pull it out and smell it.
Okay. It's a little bit wedged shut, so you'll need to make a strength check. It's not a tough one, but you'll need to make a strength check to open up the top, and then we'll be able to talk about that. No, not a save. It's check.
Ooh, check.
I sympathize so hard with this. I can never remember.
Yeah, it's fortunately, as I said, not a difficult one. You're able to pry loose this thing. It does make a little bit of a like pop sound, and I imagine that Inga, you probably hear that from the outside and could kind of like, although I know you're mostly focusing on the outside of the street. Inside the barrel, Bolo, as you look in, you find something very interesting. It looks to be a lot of spools and skeins of thread.
Grab them!
No, don't touch them.
Quick, touch them! Do this. Exactly.
I'm gonna thread a needle and shoot some needle.
Message for you, sir. Ugh.
Floss my teeth with it.
Lost my teeth.
Now we go to Inga. You hear nothing inside this room.
Just a thud and then nothing.
Do you perceive anything? No, never again. Oh,
Oh, poor Bolo.
On the other side of town, Tawny's like, it's as if a weight has been lifted.
yeah,
from my
exactly.
heart.
As if the fates spoke. And
How many barrels are there?
there are 6 barrels surrounding the grate, and there is, I should say, they're arranged in a semicircle. So where the footprints are coming to and from the grate is the one space where there's no barrel in front of it.
And do they lead to some other room?
Just what? Oh, the footprints.
Footprints?
No, they lead to and from the window that you came through.
Okay, so the dust is only like around this area.
Right, that's right.
How odd. So are any? I assume the skeins are. One of them is small enough for me to wrap up in something and
Yes.
just stuff into my.
Yes, although a skein is much larger than, as you know, like it's not a spool, right? So it is larger, but yes, you could definitely pull one of them out.
That's a
Yes,
spool.
All right, I
Yeah,
will
a
take one.
sign is about this.
right. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Then I will take it and I will. I'm not gonna pry open the rest, but I'm just gonna feel all of them to see if they weigh about the same.
Yeah, they feel of a similar weight. Mm-hmm.
I'll replace the top. And then what else is in this room? Is it an empty room beyond?
It looks to
beyond
be
that?
pretty much, completely empty beyond that. Not even crates. You can see the boarding up on the windows around the the outside of the warehouse, but
Yeah. And is the whole space open, or are there other rooms
Open.
It's all open. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I do want to check for stairs to the second level.
So you don't. It's actually the two stories. It's just one big room,
I got you.
basically one
I got
open room. Yeah.
And
You found the
there
Costco of Dale, basically.
Are there any doors or trap doors leading down?
The only thing that leads down, from what you can tell, is this grate that you're near.
Yeah.
Although you could try to do a big search to find anything, but it doesn't seem like that.
I just do a cursory search. I will try to lift up the grate.
Sure.
To see
Make a
how
strength
easy
check
it
on
is
that.
to do.
This might be a little harder, but check, not save, remember. You may need a little help. It feels like it does, however, shift a bit. You do feel like it can be moved.
Yeah. Okay.
It's definitely not
And
riveted in there.
I see the ladder.
Yep.
And stuff. So
Yeah.
it's going to lead to a tunnel of some sort. All right. I will wait. Was Inga just sort of walking the area?
Basically standing in a dark corner from the building and like keeping a lookout just.
All right. I'll sort of lever open the window and just say, psst, psst, psst. Kind of get her attention. And I'll have her, I'll wave her inside. Come inside quick.
Okay, I slip inside, hopefully
All right.
stealthily.
And I show her all the stuff and show her the sky and the grate, the ladder. This is most curious.
Indeed. I want to look around. What?
Given that there are only footprints leading to these barrels, it seems to me that they're storing things up and they're getting to this place from this grate. This may be the secret entrance to Longo's lair.
Show me the spot with the footprints.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, and you see
So the
them.
barrels and like the dust and that sort of thing. And they don't go
So-
beyond the semicircle of barrels. So
Yeah, I want to check if there's like anything like a pathway hidden behind.
No, just
Or did you check already?
just that there's a path of like they seem to be leading vaguely towards the window and to the grate, like to and from the grate and the window, basically, the footprints. The window
they're-
that you came in.
So they're coming in. It seems to me that they're storing these threads here and sort of,
Yeah.
I assume, building them up until they have enough for whatever. And they're either getting to here from this tunnel or from the window or both.
I'm really confused about the
There might
layout of the room here.
the grate is. Sorry, go on.
It's a big open room.
Yeah.
Grate is in the not quite center of it. There is a semicircle of barrels, and there are dusty footprints leading from the grate to the window you just came from and back again, as if there has been traffic to and from this grate from the window.
Oh, I thought the footprints were where the barrels are.
They are, because the barrels are around the grate.
That was a missing piece.
Yeah, the barrels are in a semicircle, remember I
Okay.
mentioned, around the grate. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is the grate locked in any way? Like, Inga wants to check if she could like easily open it.
Let me have you
It's
make a
only-
strength check.
It's only locked against hobbits. You'll do fine.
With one hand. You know, like,
It's impossible to open. I tried.
you'll never move it.
Strengths or athletics?
Athletics is fine too.
Thank you. We'll take that instead.
Oh yeah, you're just like, what? Like just,
Lift with the legs, Robar, not the bag.
Uh-huh.
it'll be he lifts it up and you're
Well
like,
then,
yeah.
I clearly didn't try hard enough. I could have gotten it. Well, so now the question is, do we investigate or?
No, we need to meet
Oh,
with
the
the
group.
others first. We are not going to go in alone. Which is a mistake I did in my other campaign. And then we died. Horribly.
Polo is inwardly disappointed in you.
So,
Where's your sense of adventure?
Wow.
we are waiting for the others.
Wait, they don't know to come here. We have to go to them.
Yes.
All right. Fine.
So you're gonna both of you are gonna make your way up to Battered Mug.
Yeah.
if possible?
Yes, however, not the direct way.
Right, and I
In
assumed
case
it
we
was
are being
a
followed again.
serpentine pattern. As Bolo and Inga leave again, closing, I assume, the window behind them back on the place, and make their way up, and Tani and the river still having this loud public conversation about Bolo's cooking abilities and whether it's worth dealing with him, while Stone is walking along looking confused.
Like,
I
why
think-
are mommy and daddy fighting? Kind of.
Exactly. I think there are several moments, little as the scene, as the camera sort of pulls up to show two cloaked figures heading in different directions. One heading in the direction of, sort of roughly following where Tani and the river and Stone are going. And then the other one off somewhere here in the south, not following at the moment, Bolo and Inga. But there is one last figure, one third figure, which if we were to zoom even further out, you would see sort of ducking their head around near this building here. You can see the person kind of going and then doing this motion, and then
Can
sort
you-
of,
I
sorry.
couldn't. What move?
Oh, I beg your pardon. Doing this, like kind of just waving to someone up there, and looking above, and then sort of nodding and going, "This would better be worth it, or I'm gonna rue the day I trusted that halfling. Bolo, don't let me down." And Brindle ducks into the shadows to wait as we bring our session to a close. Lovely stuff. Just struck me. I was like, I could just say halfling and really make them paranoid for about 3 weeks. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, I mean, it could still be that Bolo and Clovis are the same person.
That's true. I mean, we don't know. Yeah. Right, exactly. This could be a triple, quadruple fake.
I mean,
it can't.
We have never seen them both in the same room.
No, it's true.
But we have.
I'm not saying I'm not saying I am Batman, but you have never seen me and Batman in the same room together.
Well, yeah, unless Clovis and/or Bolo has that shape face shifting ability from Game of Thrones or whatever. Yeah. Probably this is not a Kaiser Sose situation.
You would assume not. Although it would be funny if Bolo's like walking along and then starts walking differently. You're like, oh no! I want to thank Combustible Dan for subscribing with Prime. Thank you, Combustible Dan. Thank you very much. And thank you to the players for a wonderful session as well. I actually really enjoyed this a lot, even when there was a long period of time about, what if they're following us? Like that was cracking me up. And I mostly just because this is honestly, I have such a soft spot in my heart for intrigue, and especially city-based intrigue, and especially like spy city-based intrigue. Like that's my jam straight up. So like
maybe short, but his shadow is long.
Yeah, no, I love it. I may have written a trilogy about this very sort of thing. Like I love this sort of stuff. So
I'm just expecting Greyshade to show up somewhere.
Exactly. That would be sick. Can you imagine? I'm like, it's branding. You can find more about Greyshade in the recent Kickstarter coming up. Yeah. But anyway, it was great. I was really enjoying
show the book right now, but it's out of reach in my shelf.
That's true. Yeah, because you've read the original. That's right. Yep.
Oh yeah. I'm extremely loving Middle Earth Noir edition.
Yeah. Oh man, it's because like one of the things that the Hobbit movies, which did everything wrong, but there were two things I think they did right. First, I think they did casting pretty well, and secondly, I thought that the way that they portrayed not only Bard but parts of Lake Town were very interesting to me, and I thought. It's just such a shame that you can't take those moments and then like expand it to make the rest of those movies that are not good better. But anyway, but that just always reminded me a little bit of very much that kind of in the shadows type of thing. I loved it. Anyway, this was a great pleasure as always to play with this wonderful group, and they have made progress. We will get through the Silver Needle, I think, here.
That Silver Needle's eye.
We will get. That's right. We'll follow the thread, as it were. As we go through this. It has been a great pleasure to be with these players, starting with Amal. Again, it was really fun to see the river back in play. It was funny the last time when you were not here, when the players were all, I think, like Tren and Brad and Terry were anxious not to like, well, would the river really do this? Like, they were like, what would the river actually say? Yeah. So it was fun. They were really trying to be careful about that. So obviously you've had a distinct impression on them. But but it was fun to see how you were kind of figuring out and processing how all of this was going to work together. How did you feel like this all worked? And where will the fine people see you next?
I loved it. I feel slightly sheepish about the extended, but wait, what are we doing part? And I lay that flatly at the feet of my insufficient caffeination. Me.
See?
But yes. But no, I super enjoyed this. I love the figuring out stuff and the putting things together stuff, and and I just honestly, like, a gigantic pleasure of this game for me is watching Bolo operate and continue to be this creature of extremes, of like extreme stealth and extreme not perception.
Oh, that was cracking me up, yeah.
As like he's so stealthy that it prevents him from seeing things around him.
Yes, the definition of if I can't see anybody, nobody can see me.
Exactly. I see nothing and they see nothing. Like,
I love that. But I also especially loved like arguing with Tawny was great.
Yeah,
fun.
That was nice. That was nice.
I really enjoyed that. I love the idea that like Tawny and the river can have a bit that they fall into when trying to be fighty and stuff, and I love the idea that there might actually be grains of truth to that thing.
That's exactly it. Yeah. It's like it's turned to 11, but it's not totally off.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
It's funny, and it would like translate to the people who are watching us a little bit because they have been watching us.
Yeah, it doesn't
you know?
totally, it's not, right. No, it was really well done. Also, by the way, one quick note, this is not a usual pairing. Like usually, you know, Inga and the River have been together quite a bit, and then Tani and before Robar, but also sometimes Tani and Bolo. So, or everybody off on their own. So having the River and Tani here with Bolo and Inga is an interesting grouping that I was having fun watching too, so.
I really, really like it. And I imagine that, like, Tani and the River have, like, a really, I mean, like, she has been a guest in his home for an extended amount of time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They have a lot of just comfortable banter that they can fall into and stuff. So, so I super, super enjoyed that part. And I'm enjoying the thought of, I mean, in my head at this point, we don't even need to play through the battered mug stuff. Like, I feel like we can just have conducted a cursory examination and reconvene, because I just feel like we've already gotten the I don't know, the banter part.
Mhm. That may be more or less accurate, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So I super love this. Where people can find me? Oh, there is, in fact, this weekend. There's something called AugurCon happening virtually.
AugurCon.
Augur Magazine.
I see what you did there.
Augur Magazine. Yes. They are having a, I think, like, one-day convention, and I'm going to be on a panel with some other excellent people, chatting about it and stuff. This is the magazine, and so yeah, sometime like Saturday during the day, there's going to be that stuff. I'll see if I can find actual direct links to, like, AugurCon, which I probably should have done beforehand. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So it's something that you need to register for ahead of time, but there's a sliding scale. It could be free, I think, if you need it to be. And it just seems like it'll be a cool thing. Augur Magazine is based out of Toronto, and they do really great work. And I'm excited to chat with people there. So that'll happen. Is there anything else? Later on in December, I'm going to be in conversation with Arcady Martin about her amazing book, A Memory Called Empire. But that will be December 10th, and time is to be decided. So hopefully next session I can have more details about that. But yeah, that's mainly it. Otherwise, you can find me on the internets at Tithanai on Twitter and on Substack, which is amal.substack.com, and my website, which has writing on it. Oh, I have this book here.
Oh, and also that book. Oh, whoops. Whoops.
Which did not win the Brooklyn Public Library Prize. Lost out to Ocean Vuong, which, you know, makes perfect sense. So, but there you go. See, we didn't win.
Yeah,
that.
you have the literal polar opposite record to Trump's attempts to overwhelm the election. So the fact that you're like 35-2 instead of 2-35, you know what I'm saying?
But anywho, yeah. So that is me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to more.
It is exciting. I'm very happy to always be able to play with this crew, and thank you, Amel, always. And happy U.S. Thanksgiving to a Canadian who's already had your Thanksgiving, but, you know, nonetheless, the spirit of the season. I'm grateful that you're part of this campaign, so thank you. Moving right on up in the line, of course, great stuff, Terry, as always, with Inga, and you really got a chance to not only sort of stretch your nomadic muscles, by which I mean your sort of ranger wandering muscles and figuring out the poisons and all that, but also then got a chance to do a little bit of stealth, a little bit of perception, a little bit of, you know, and then of course the big strength gag at the end where you're like, what? This is not a problem. So that was all funny. How did you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Well, I mean, I'm always glad if I can bring in a quote from the gamers, so that's nice. Also, I'm glad that Tren recognized that one. Like, the face was worth it.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I heard this one before.
Yep.
Well, the movie is so old by now. I feel old. Oh well. But yes, no, this was a lot of fun. I mean, today I was mainly here for the show, I guess. But, like, you know, that was completely stolen. by that conversation between
That was great. Yeah,
Tren and between Toddy and River. So
that was
that
funny.
was amazing. So yeah, that. People can find me on Twitter and on Instagram, where I'm sadly lately not posting a great many pictures because my phone camera is broken, so I can't take any pictures right now, except for with my shitty webcam. And if something doesn't fit in my scanner, then rip. So, yeah, sad.
Oh,
Um,
you need to figure out a way. You need to do, raise funds, get you the new camera phone, the new phone that has a camera.
Well, I do
and
need,
stuff.
like, I could just go to a store and buy a phone, but, like...
That seems like
going
such a simple and clear
outside,
solution. I'm just kidding.
Going outside and stuff.
Know that feeling? I really needed to go to the store like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and I
same.
still haven't gone because I
Same.
don't want to go outside.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
Same, my dude, same.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been, like, outdoors at, like, even... No, I've been outdoors once last week, so that's the thing. But yeah, aside from that... Nope.
That's
Inside is fine.
inside is fine. And as Echo put down, that's where your Patreon is, where you can be found, which is patreon.com/cherrytunes, which I support
Oh,
also.
wow. I mean,
Um,
if people want to support me there, great. Just saying I haven't done anything with Patreon in like a year or so. I
Well,
don't know.
more will, listen, it's inspiration,
longer?
so to speak. But thank you, Terry. Always a pleasure. And you will see Terry back here, not just for AIME, but you'll see our next Ninja Gamebook Illustration Assassin stream,
Oh yes,
which we're
that's
doing
right.
as well.
The
So-
full Naruto energy.
That's right. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So thank you, Terry, as always. Again, happy U.S. Thanksgiving, so to speak, to someone who's German, but nonetheless, I'm grateful to have
We
as a
do
friend
have
and have him
Ernte
here. So.
Dank, which is basically the same.
Okay, so that
Like it translates to harvest thanks.
happy harvest
Literal.
thanks then is what I would say. But thank you, Terry. Always a pleasure. Also, always a pleasure to have Brad with us. And yes, again, Bolo got a chance to the agony of the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. I was cracking up that because just the way that things broke out, it turned out that there were a lot of pairings of those either immediately or in close proximity of perception investigation. And it was amazing how often you're just kind of like, yes, I can see nothing, but sense everything. Like it was like watching Rutger Hauer's Blind Fury somehow or something. But it was very funny. And also Bolo had a lot of interesting things, figuring things out about where stuff was going, as did the rest of the crew. How'd you feel about today, and where will the folks find you next?
Yeah, I love that the dice are conspiring to help build the legend that is Bolo Brastuk. and like I'll feed into that, as time goes on and that sort of thing. So it's funny. But yeah, it was a fun session. It feels like we're right on the cusp, of things starting to roll.
Yes.
Quickly downhill, So we'll see what happens when the crash occurs. So I'm really curious, and then curious how Brindle fits into it all too. It's a fun little mystery that we have coming up here. So looking forward to it. You can find me on Twitter as bbullier, on Facebook as Bradley P. Bullier. No plans online beyond that, other than coming here in a couple weeks. And otherwise, we're hunkering down for the holidays. I hope everyone's staying safe. Wear your mask.
Yep.
Social distance.
Yep.
So yeah, looking forward to the next session.
Same on all counts, and I can actually say to both Brad and Trendane, happy Thanksgiving, since they are in the U.S., and so happy Thanksgiving to them. So happy Thanksgiving, Brad. Thank you, and yeah, stay safe. And Tren, that conversation between you and Amal with Tawny in the River, as I said, was really gold. I was really funny, and I'm glad that everyone picked up on what was going on there. But you also had to figure out things relating to the poison and putting all this stuff together. And I got the sense from everybody that everyone had a bunch of these disembodied parts that they were gradually like starting to slot together. Like, no, this is like, how this connects and all that. And so you were starting to sense some of that. And so that was a lot of fun. And it'll be interesting to see the idea of it being, I almost wish that Bolo had heard the stuff to see whether Bolo was like, that was just like the the act, right? Like that was just but it turned out Bolo didn't, and so it'll just have to stay there in the ether. But it was
Okay,
fun
I'm sure
watching that.
I have a
someone
negative
did.
to all my rolls for a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rest.
But it was fun watching it nonetheless. How did you feel about today, Trent, and where will the fine people see you next?
Well, as you know, at the point right before they went in through the window, I sent you an all caps message on
Yeah.
Sim chat saying check for traps.
Yep,
I bet
yep.
they don't, and
And they didn't. And fortunately, there
And-
weren't any, at least not so
right.
far.
But there was a point where he was looking in and talking about sliding the file up in there, and you said, and you see kind of a glint of metal, and I immediately imagined that it was the head to a crossbow bolt. That somebody was just waiting
Oh,
there,
wow.
right there, waiting, and I was like, "Ooh, oh, it's not okay. Ooh, all right, that would be."
Especially, it's glinting and getting quickly fat. Like it looks like,
It's,
like
it's
this is
getting
coming up.
huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Today was really good. There was the sort of there's the moments where we're all arguing the same point, but we're still arguing them. That we're trying to plan what we're doing. It's like we're all arguing exactly the same thing. Why are we okay? What? So there comes a point where you just have to go, right? So let's go. And it's like we figured it out. We just keep going around in a loop for some reason.
But are we
God, I
sure
love
we
it.
figured it out?
No, not really. And I think that even if Bolo didn't hear, sorry, I almost called him Bolovis.
Bolobus.
No, Bolovis, like Bolo, Clovis.
Oh.
Oh, Bolo. Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, he probably
Like,
didn't.
no,
hear,
my brother doesn't. I mean, not my brother, my person I know.
No, he probably didn't hear the back and forth between Tawny and the river, but someone did.
Someone did, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there'll be a point where we're all standing surrounded by bandits and things. It's like, he doesn't like you, right?
They're planning to kick you out.
Here's what he said when you couldn't hear. Something about you cooking bacon, barely trying to boil and barbecue pancakes. I don't know what they're actually talking about.
Now
but
you've
it
gone too
sounded-
far.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. This will not stand. Right.
How dare you?
How did the campaign go? It was great, and then it fell apart. Over what? Bacon? Like, oh well, that not surprised.
We
You
thought
like
that
my
it
tart?
was. We thought it was going to be Kirsten Strahd that really tore us apart. No, it was Erebor Adventures.
Is Erebor?
As for where people will see me, I don't know. Probably back here for the post-mortem for the aforementioned Kirsten Strahd.
Right, and session 0 of the Red Pasha mini campaign that we're doing.
Mhm.
And then otherwise back here with this campaign too. Oh, and you'll also be seen next month starring as a guest appearance starring in A Christmas Carol, because we're doing our yearly our vocalist Christmas Carol voiceover, that which is always, if you get a chance to see it, folks, please stop by and check it out, because it's always really, really cool. My favorite story, and wonderfully done by these folks. And
Where I will be doing the voice of the Ghost of Christmas Don't Give a Shit.
Right, yes. But thank you as always to everybody. I got to rise up on out of here, but I am going to say thank you so much to the players. Check, we get some love for the wonderful players. Happy Thanksgiving to those who are celebrating it. Otherwise, just happy being awesome. And yes,
I wasn't going to say yes. I was going to say, and
Hi.
fuck Christopher Columbus.
I know, I'm coming down.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to my wonderful players. Thank you to Tren, to Brad, to Terry, and to Amal. And I will see you lovely folks down the road in various places. Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye all. There were, that's right, there were 2 boys and 2 girls, yes. But now we are back here. So I've been joined by Mini Arv, but only for a moment, because I got to get on out of here and get ready for my stream, which is coming up at 4 p.m. I hope you folks enjoyed this as much as I did. I always have a great time with these. I also want to call out Green Forge Studio for some of the music that you heard during that time. But otherwise, that's it for me. I'm going to be back with you folks in about 20 minutes or so, when I'm going to be over on GOG Com's Twitch channel. Until that time, I hope you folks enjoyed what you saw and heard, and if so, I hope you will follow the channel. I hope you'll check out the YouTube, the !ArvTube. Please subscribe to me over there. I'm trying to get my numbers up above 1,000 subs over there. !Arv tweets is my Twitter. !Arvcord is the Discord. Website is arvaneleron.com. You can find the financial side, !Arv shop. The Patreon is !Arvtreon. There's little Arv also. And of course the sub button, which is right above your video window, as good as well. You could find all of that over there. You could find all of that over there. That's right. You can find all of that over there, and all of that would be lovely. Also, my publishing, !Icarus for the Icarus graphic novel, !Library for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, and !Grayshade KS for the Grayshade Kickstarter. If you like that city intrigue, there's a lot more where that came from, and that will be coming up again, !Grayshade KS, early February of 2021. Also, !BLM, Black Lives Matter. We continue to affirm and assert the importance of these, and here, Help Now, which is the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Please check that out as well. Reach out yourself and reach out to others as well, because all of that really does matter and make a difference. I'm going to be over on GOG playing Vaporum Lockdown in about 15 minutes. Right now, I'm going to go take care of my kid for about 10 minutes before I do all of that. So I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank my wonderful mods, Arudinel, Terry Tunes, who played today, of course, and Triffity Metz. Thank you to my wonderful subscribers, Arudinel, Terry Tunes, Triffity Metz, Echo, Nonstop, Combustible Dan, Trendane. Thank you to Echo in particular for doing all of the, quickly posting all the stuff at the very beginning, as always. Thank you to Combustible Dan for subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing to Twitch Prime. A lot more of this tabletop stuff. If you like tabletop, there's a lot more where that came from. And thank you as well to my wonderful players, Amal, who is a Patreon supporter, Trendane, Terry Tunes, and of course, Brad Bollier, who are there. So thank you to those folks. Thank you to Commander Root, ECAG, Electrical Longboard, Gorgar, Italyara, Jagtris, Karahemd, Lurks, Mrs. Dunsel, Thicker, U. Christensen, and Uncle Elias. Thank you to all of my wonderful viewers. You're all great and awesome. And I will see you back on this channel on Friday for Esper Genesis, but back on GOG in just about 15 minutes. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much, everybody. Much love to all. And until I talk to you shortly, everyone be good to each other. Have a good one.